This episode is brought to you by... No.
I was like, did we get a sponsor?
So let's get to the stories.
Well, you didn't introduce the
Who are
episode
we?
yet. You haven't
who
introduced
are
the
we?
episode.
Oh yeah, we're the Couch Potatoes
Movie Club.
Movie Club. We still really need to work on a better name than just Movie Club, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I
like
call it
it.
Movie Club because it's like a book club.
One
Yes.
potato, two potato, three potato.
Yeah.
Um,
So we're the Couch Potato Movie Club, the show where we take 3 movies and we each pick one and we all watch them in our own time. We come back together and talk about it and we give it a 1 to 3.
and we have the
potato
show's
rating.
mascot, your own living
Yeah.
potato, your daughter.
Yeah, she's behind the scenes right now. And my wife's here.
Potatoing.
My little spud. But yeah. What are our names, Eddie?
That's.
Oh, I'm Eddie.
Brandon.
This is Brandon, and this is Kevin Jordanson.
Kevin Jordanson.
This is Jordan.
It just rolls off
Kemkowski.
the tongue, though, right?
Yeah.
Huh? That was the original last name,
Oh,
way back in the day.
Jordan.
Guess we're giving out full names
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry.
I'll bleep it
Yeah.
out.
Thank you,
Bleep it out.
thank you for
I'll take it out
bleeping that out.
post.
Oh yeah, everybody's gonna look. Oh man, I need to
Well,
find this
wait.
guy.
Well, my job might have them actually looking for my
Yeah,
name,
that's true.
and I don't want you in my interview.
How do you know this?
You don't have Eddie as a reference?
Oh yeah, that's right.
How do you know this guy that's always eating?
It's a rolled
Eats
gold
snacks
sting.
every episode,
Um,
and then choosing the mic, and it makes my job harder.
So okay, let's get into it. Let's do this.
All right, so what are our picks this week?
So
So
this week,
yeah,
we watched,
I'll go first because we're gonna do mine first, and then we're
Well,
gonna
let me
go.
mention all 3 of them.
All right, yeah. It's your.
Eddie showed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That was derogatory.
Oh, Marissa's in a... She didn't hear me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So today we watched The Void, which was my pick.
Okay.
Moon,
Which
his
is my pick.
And LA 92, or is it 92 LA?
LA 92.
LA 92, which is a story of robots in LA
That's
in
not
the
at all
year
what it's about.
2092.
That's not what it's about.
and you know, a robot Rodney King gets pulled over and
Jesus.
beaten the shit out of.
Whoa.
And it causes the robot riots
What is
of
happening?
LA.
That's
Yeah.
not at all accurate.
That's the next movie. No, that's the sequel to this movie.
That's the sequel.
It's the beginning of Cyber.
Actually,
LA 92.
yeah, LA 92 is a documentary made by National Geographic about the 92 riots, and it starts from
Battlefield Los Angeles.
start to finish. It's just archive footage, starting with some stuff with the 65 riots, leading into Rodney King, the trials, the riots, the cleanup.
And there's like no voiceover,
There's
no
no
host or
talking
nothing.
or anything.
It's all just straight, and that's
It's
why.
straight archive footage. It doesn't feel biased.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel biased. I was gonna say, so for this film, I watched it, but like a lot of the time, I had like stop and pause and take a break, just because like it was hard to keep my focus because it was just so thick, and it was just about like
It's pretty
content.
heavy, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's very
kinda hard
heavy.
to,
It's
like,
not like a
finish the
fun
whole
watch.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a regular
So-
like a movie. It's like 2 hours long.
It is 2 hours, yeah.
So yeah,
But it
But
doesn't feel
generally,
2 hours.
generally, I liked it. I'm gonna give it a potato.
I'll give it a potato for like.
For
like
content?
the content,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it was long. I would have been nice if like they had something to break it up, like somebody's voice
Like an
or
intermission?
anything. Yeah, like
Here's
well,
a
not like
5-minute
intermission, like,
intermission.
like in Monty
like
Python.
Quentin Tarantino all of a sudden, and Quentin Tarantino here, and that would just be interesting.
And I'll give it a full
Or
because
Sam
it was a
Jackson
very,
just enters midway and just like,
Oh, jeez.
I'll-
and at this moment,
I actually
realized-
would have been curious to find out what some of the celebrities
What
living
Sam
there
Jackson
at the
was
time
thinking?
would have thought,
Yeah,
like, because they
at the
were up in
time.
the hills watching their city burn to the ground. I wonder
Yeah, I
if
wonder
they
what
were
Quentin
like,
Tarantino was doing. He was in LA at the time writing Pulp Fiction
yeah.
and
That would've-
Reservoir Dogs and all those movies at the time.
So I
maybe
would
like
have
a
been
little
curious.
hit of like how is this affecting celebrities?
Just like a tiny little
Yeah.
like.
'Cause
Like,
it is
oh,
more,
those
it is
dirty
more
black-
so about the people.
It is about the people, and I applaud National Geographic for keeping it about the people.
Yeah. I'll give it a full potato
I
because it was a
thought
very
it was a
different
bit
kind of
so-
documentary
near the end
I've
when it's
ever
like
seen.
all the people came together, I was like,
Yeah, it was
Like-
a bit sing-songy, but yeah.
I was like,
but
you
it's
just
what
slightly
yeah,
bit sing-songy.
That
yeah.
did happen, though. It's not like it's.
I get it, but I'm like,
you know,
who are the
You're
going
gonna
to
sit over here and talk about how Robert the Bruce was amazing the way they portrayed him, but people actually cleaning up the streets of LA is too much for you.
Who's the guy behind the scenes? Though?
So that's 3 potatoes for us for LA 92.
Another 3 potato
Yeah,
rating.
I know that's rare.
2 for 2.
Just because like I feel like the amount of racism in the movie was not equal to the amount of racism I believe existed at the time. I feel like the media, because like we're getting media
we'll get into
in
it.
media.
We're gonna get
stuff.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
We'll
just
talk
the
about it again.
general.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, let's move to Moon.
Just for
Moon.
Moon is a story about a guy that's on space.
I really dug Moon.
Yeah, I did too.
I just finished it.
It's about a guy who's working on the moon. He's helping siphon
Helium. Yeah.
Helium.
Was he like grinding up rocks? That's what.
Yeah, no, they have rock grind. Like, weren't you watching?
No, I was watching, but like I was confused
that's how they're
by
getting
what.
it.
Yeah, they're like
They're
big.
extracting
It looked like they
helium
were-
from the
I
moon.
think
grinding
their
the ground.
like point was like the sun is leaking helium and the moon's just catching it because it has nowhere to go and
Yeah.
it's burnt up in our atmosphere or something.
Yeah, so they're siphoning helium-3 from the moon, bringing it back to Earth to help solve the energy crisis,
Yeah.
pretty much. And you start finding out there's only one guy who's working up there. He has a contract of 3 years
For
by
some
himself.
reason.
Finds out there's other people there.
What's it,
and I don't want to spoil that one before we get into it, because this is kind of like our spoil-free kind of thing.
What's the actor's name again though?
Sam
Rockwell.
President of the
Rockwell's
Galaxy. For those
Funny,
of you,
funny thing,
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's name not very far off from the name of this
Sam
character.
Bell.
Sam Bell.
Sam
Yeah.
Bell. But I
wonder how close he was with the writing of the script, just because I'm curious if that had anything to do
There's
with
like
him.
Terry Crews. A lot of his characters are named
Oh, yeah, a
Terry.
lot
So
of
like
Terry
I'm
Crews.
curious if they were
That's
just
true.
like they just needed John Everyman name and Sam
Yeah.
just worked.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to spoil what the ending is, but let's just say things start getting crazy
They get
while he's up
super
there working.
weird.
Because this is kind of like the
There's a
spoil-free kind of
crazy-
part. Yeah. This is kind of like the spoil-free kind of part, and then we dig into it with the spoilers.
Yeah.
So that's Moon, and
But yeah,
I'm giving
I really
Moon.
dug Moon.
I'm
I'm
giving
giving
Moon
it
a
a
full
potato.
potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give it a full potato.
So that's
Another
that's,
three
that's three
potatoes!
potatoes in one.
All
Man,
right,
we've got
let's see if
so
we can
many
keep it going.
potatoes.
What's next?
Why did we bring pops and not potatoes?
Oh yeah, we have Funko Pops now, which
That's not a sponsor. I just felt
Not a
like,
sponsor,
yeah.
we
yeah.
just
well,
we
we
like
didn't
them.
have to even mention them. I think everybody probably noticed. I have Jon Snow because I'm Stark.
Wait, I just want for context everyone to understand. You just said we don't really have to mention them, and your next sentence was introducing yours.
Well, at this point, I might as well, since you brought him up and you ruined the illusion of how cool we are. You'd be like,
how cool we are.
we have Funko
the
Pops,
illusion of
guys.
how cool we are.
With your lame ass Cthulhu Funko
Whoa,
Pop.
you should be careful.
Hey, and then
And
I
your-
got Thanos, the Mad Titan.
and your big daddy gay fat Thanos.
Hey,
Whoa.
hey, don't make him snap.
I don't know why, but Thanos in the movie just has such a creepy dad body.
Well, he's a dad. Well, he's an
I
adopted
know, but
dad,
it creeps me out. He looks like.
Well, he's not fat.
He doesn't look like the god that I'm supposed to think of. He looks
He's not
like,
a god.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. He's a
In the
Mad
comic
Titan.
books.
He's not a god in the comics. He's a
Yeah,
Mad
he
Titan.
is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's
No,
not.
they're an alien race.
No, I know, but he becomes godlike
well, yeah, when he
Yeah,
gets
but that
the
doesn't mean he
gauntlet, yeah.
immediately looks like a
No,
god.
but
Well,
even
actually, you know
before
what?
then. Before then, he
I
becomes
will
a god.
grant that he's not. I don't think he is a god.
no, he's an
He is-
eternal.
He's a
he is-
cele- yeah, he's
he
an
is a
eternal.
celestial
and
or
an
eternal
eternal
type,
is
whatever.
just another word to say god.
It's a
Because
little G.
he is
No.
at some point courting.
No, boy, it's a big G. They
Wait.
just don't want to admit it.
No, it's
now.
not.
Oh,
Okay.
that's because they had the all powerful,
Yeah,
controlling
like
universe.
eternity
We're getting off
and
a
the-
topic.
Is this a Marvel podcast?
No, it's not. It's a movie podcast.
3 potatoes
My
for
point is-
Moon.
He looks like he likes young men. And Jon Snow is afraid, and he's getting.
Yeah, and Jon Snow is a young man.
What?
And then we got Cthulhu.
Just edit all that out.
Nah, keeping it in.
So Eddie's pick.
There's nothing wrong with liking young men, except as long as they're of age. I'm just gonna lay that out there.
Anyway,
Way to cover.
way to cover your tracks, Eddie.
I
So-
just-
so
I, like, I
what-
make a lot of jokes. But
Eddie,
so
what
I'm
is
not
your
trying to
pick?
offend
What
anyone.
is your
Eddie?
pick for this
Mine
film
is
podcast?
The Void, and I dug it. I'd seen it before. I picked it, but then I picked it again because it was pretty.
Because you saw it, but you weren't.
Yeah,
you
it'd
didn't
been-
watch it as extensive.
It'd been
as
a
this
long
one.
time, and you guys wanted movies you hadn't seen, and you hadn't seen that one. The Void's on Netflix too, so that always helps out. It's a sweet film. Sweet.
It's a sweet. What?
It's a sweet film
Oh, that. Okay,
Oh, I didn't think
not
that's
what
where
I
you were
thought
going.
said.
Yeah.
movie you want to fornicate with.
Oh Jesus.
No, it's
It's a sweet milf.
It's a great movie. It's about like just 80s horror, really. Like, I don't even want to really give you the plot, the real plot. But like, it's a pretty basic plot. Like,
Monster movie.
yeah, monster movie. People are trapped in a place. But like, it's
There's a
just
cult,
it's everything
there's some
about like
monsters.
every cool 80s movie you could like imagine. That's
Yeah.
like a horror movie
With
Think about
great
this.
practical effects.
Yeah, with great practical effects. Lots of John Carpenter vibes. If you like Hellraiser. It's like
Yeah.
Hellraiser. If you like Lovecraft stuff. It's like Lovecraft stuff.
It's vaguely Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
It pretty
So,
much is. Yeah.
It was a pretty fun movie. I give it a full potato.
I'll give it a full. Oh, I think this one I gave a half because the beginning was kind of hard.
I also gave it a half for my own reasons, which we can get into when we get there. But it was kind of slow to start. I agree.
Okay.
I'll give it a mutated potato with lots of tentacles.
Oh, Jesus. So,
Lots of penis
LA
tentacles.
92.
I'll devote an hour of editing to that.
LA 92 got 3 potatoes. Moon got 3 potatoes.
And
The
then
Void
Lavoie got
totals 2 potatoes.
And I'm not saying I'm giving it a half because it was bad. It's just because the beginning was a little too slow compared to the rest. To where
Once it
was,
picks up,
stuck
it just
out.
starts running.
Yeah, once it picks up, it is going full force.
Yeah, we'll get into it because that's the last one we're going to talk about.
All right.
So
Jordan, kick
let's
us off
get
with
into
LA 92.
yeah. So LA 92 starts with black and white footage of a reporter talking about the August riots in 1965, which is not Los Angeles in 1992. So immediately, name doesn't make sense. No, I'm kidding. Essentially, they just use
This movie's fake news.
This movie's propaganda.
They use that to sort of show, because the voiceover track of the reporter is explaining that because of police brutality and the sort of racial charge against African Americans in the community, and all these factors going into it, that Los Angeles is essentially a. You good?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I saw you tapping the mic. I
Oh,
want to
no,
make
I
sure
was
you're
just
good.
tapping it.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. I can take it out in post.
No, I'm yeah. But basically saying that if the Los Angeles become a powder keg, which could explode again, and then it does, because in 1992, after Rodney King gets the beat out of him, the 4 police officers are found innocent, which that's our legal system. That they were innocent, and then there were riots because of it, basically. At least according to this.
Well, because of that, and also because of
Yeah.
15-year-old Latasha.
There was a 15-year-old girl who'd been shot in the head by a Korean store owner. She got off with no jail time.
Nope.
Even though she was convicted by a jury.
She got convicted guilty, but the judge let her go.
They called her guilty, and the judge said she didn't think she would commit a crime again, so she can go free.
Little old Asian lady.
Yeah,
so, like, you
well,
can
I
kinda
mean,
see
she
that
still
voice, but-
shot a girl.
No,
in
yeah,
the head.
definitely.
Like,
Yeah, it was straight
because
up
she
murder.
thought she was stealing orange juice, and like people could see on the tape, like she had money
Yeah.
in her hand.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
that's what I like too, is that the documentary actually shows the full clips
Yeah.
too. It's not just showing you part of it.
there
It
is
shows you the full thing of what happened.
They don't censor anything.
It's like she
including
was
Rodney
undeniably
King,
murdered.
like getting the beat out of him.
Yeah, same with Ronnie King.
So it starts with, basically after the footage of the 65 stuff, they jump into some sort of background stuff of like what Los Angeles is like at this time.
kinda like
they
a-
got a black
it's like a
mayor,
racial
and they got it's a
powder keg.
diverse area, whatever.
you got Korean Town.
Yeah.
And
Comes
then
up later on.
they show the Rodney King tape, the famous one where the guy filmed him just getting the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to sit here and like just bash everyone,
Yeah.
because like that's not what the point is. Like
Yeah.
this documentary isn't saying like, look how bad everyone is. It's just showing you from start to finish, like,
This is what happened.
this is what happened.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost
But- Like, I feel like it's super hyper focused on this Rodney King thing, and I just don't know if that's like the only reason the riots happened.
Yeah.
I think it's because the story would like, this is like the myth and legend of our modern times. Rodney King was the reason that started it.
Yeah.
Just like,
and they even say in the documentary that
Yeah.
he was like the invisible man behind
yeah,
it.
whether or not he really was the reason he started, or he was an excuse used by people who already were feeling that tension growing and growing.
Because there was a clip in the documentary of a guy watching as Los Angeles burns to the ground.
Yeah.
And he says, this is about more than King. This is also people working 60-hour jobs, and they still aren't catching up on bills. This is about more than just one guy getting oppressed, but about an entire system of oppression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was. It was,
But I just don't feel like they give that enough credit.
And they kind of hint at it too, because there's times where they say like this isn't a racial thing. It's more of like
Rodney
a
King
class.
himself says that.
Yeah, it's
I
not
think-
even a racial. It's more of a class thing.
I think that would require going in deeper to like the reasons what caused it, and this was more trying to tell like the story of it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was
but I
going-
can see what Jordan's saying though, is because they kind of used
It's
Rodney
kind of-
King
yeah.
and also Latasha to kind of port. Like
Yeah.
this is why the riots happened.
Well, they were
But
they
I
were
feel
the
like there was
the-
more.
They were
Yeah.
the what we would call like the tipping points that caused
Yeah,
the
It
thing.
was like the
have
last
you ever
straw.
read
Okay.
those they're from like these economists that people kind of hate because they're douchey. They're like, what's it called? The tipping point is one of them.
I don't know.
They're really interesting. They're about like how big groups end up causing things, and like That's one aspect. One somewhat influential person, like someone with lots of eyes on them, will have something happen, and that will cause like this great vibration throughout society.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened because like Rodney King had lots of eyes on him after that.
Well, because
Yeah.
he was filmed.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of interesting too, because like they say he has all these eyes on him, but like after Rodney King thing, after the video stuff happened in the trial, after that you don't really hear about Rodney
Well, yeah,
King.
'cause
You
the
more so see
riot-
Well, he comes out to say like stop the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, did you guys feel like that was super sketchy? The
He
first
seemed
time I saw
more nervous for some reason.
I was genuinely.
Oh yeah,
like,
he was totally forced to go up there. Somebody
right.
said,
Like it felt.
somebody
I don't
was
want to
said-
say that because I don't know.
We're not
that.
going to speculate.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, like
more
we can
controversial, but-
speculate some things. Be like, realistically, you're a guy who everybody is saying this is for you, whether in a bad way or in a good way.
Yeah.
So you could say Rodney King was forced in that way. You know, like the reality of the
Oh
situation
yeah.
was like
it became too heavy for him to
yeah,
wear.
like
that
how
on
is
his
how are you
shoulders.
gonna honestly
Yeah.
do that and not eventually like how can like regardless like it wasn't his fault. He didn't even make the video for like in the first
Right.
place. Somebody else recorded it.
Yeah.
He didn't ask for any of this attention. But the fact that
but
it's
it's
being
like-
caused for him
Yeah.
is like he has to be the one who answers it. Obviously,
Yeah, that's I can
like
see
if
that.
all this happened because of you, you would be like, oh, I have to go out and say, hey, like regardless if it has any power, like realistically, a lot of people probably weren't doing it just for Rodney King. They had an
Yeah.
opportunity to do something, so they took the opportunity and they did stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
Or-
kind of what it digs into.
or it
too.
was based off of like what we were talking about earlier. It was the oppression in society inherently, and that just bubbled up to a point where it couldn't be taken anymore. And this was an opportunity, like I said, to do something.
And that's what I like too, is that the documentary didn't just stay focused on the corruption of the system as well. It also shows you that during the riots, there came a point to where now people aren't rioting for empowerment or like to
They
correct
weren't-
the system.
it wasn't
became to
civil
where now,
disobedience.
Yeah,
It was-
now
yeah.
it became
It
where
was
people
a
were now
real
just
riot.
looting and going crazy. Because
Just
now it's
burning
like,
it to
now
the
we got
ground.
it. Now we
Yeah.
got the chance to burn the city down. Let's do it. And you see that from people who are on the ground who aren't part of the riots, but their businesses are being attacked. And then, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of it, but you see where the riots start becoming where they're not part of empowering anymore. They're more so, let's just go crazy because we have the opportunity to go crazy. And you can say why. Go.
Oh yeah, the guy lighting the fires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The guy.
but like, there's a
yeah.
reason why. It's because the cops aren't in LA anymore.
Basically,
or in that area.
We get to hear radio chatter of the police, like the people who are like sending them out, the dispatchers or whatever,
Yeah.
saying don't go there.
Yeah.
And because I mean,
Like
really,
lieutenants in them are saying.
when you consider like how police works, I'm not an expert on how police work at all.
Yeah.
But there's just-
police officer expert.
no.
Put a little bar there.
He's a male officer,
Oh,
expert.
jeez. Are we doing this every time?
Yep. Male cop.
Male cop. The percentage.
Excuse me, ma'am. I have a package for you.
Oh Jesus.
Male cop.
The percentage of police officers to the general population
Yeah.
is never going to be high enough to stop a level of destruction like that.
Especially since LA, in that area of LA, has such
Los
a high
Angeles
population.
is huge. It turns out.
It turns out.
Weird.
The twist.
Who saw that coming? And the number of cops, granted, in a smaller town would be like an army.
Yeah.
But in the area of Los Angeles is massive. Mm-hmm. So they just don't have the manpower to stop something like that.
And it makes sense as to why, like, don't go in there.
And
Like,
consider also, like, this is one of the first major events that people are filming as it's happening.
Yeah.
You can't just go out there and start gadding people.
yeah.
To
Can you
make them
say it's like
stop.
the most documented event?
No, I was saying if it happened today, it would be the most documented
documented
event.
riot, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
most
but
documented
at least the
riot.
most documented riot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was in like a major metropolitan
92
area.
when the cameras
Every
were
news
pretty
station
decent.
on this side of the country had
Yeah.
a guy who was filming it. You know,
Which is where all this archive footage
right? Which
comes
is
from.
why Nat Geo is able to just get the hands on everything. This documentary also shows when the National Guard is called, the completely ineffective way that they were handled was just. It's insane.
Because I noticed it too. Because they said, "Oh yeah, we called the National Guard."
They mobilize,
but then
the
they're
National
not
Guard,
there. Like,
and then they don't show up for like a day, and then when they get there, they're like, "Oh, we don't have any ammo."
Oh, nice.
What? Why did you come?
Yeah.
Give them
Well,
spears.
no. The reason why they came though is because like they didn't want to send them out yet because they didn't have ammo. But then the governor, I think it was the governor of LA, said, "Just send them in anyway." Because
Or
they make
yeah.
a point of that because they say, "Oh, they despite what was
I mean,
advised, they
yeah.
sent them in anyway."
Well, that and they also keep showing you like, what is Washington doing while all this is happening? Because it's George H.W. Bush, Actually, our current attorney general was the attorney general at the time, and they have a scene where he's walking in, and it shows his little lower third as he's
He was
going
attorney
in.
general then too?
Yeah, William Barr.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
he was just confirmed.
Oh, okay.
And they don't address it till it's over.
Yep.
They don't say anything till it's over. Which, I mean, really though, like if George H.W. Bush got on the TV and was like, "Stop the violence," like what was that going to do?
Yeah, no
but
one's
like
gonna stop.
there was zero effort.
Yeah.
No.
Like nothing. Not one thing was done until after.
It's kind of like they've it's like the parents that just let them cry.
Just let them throw their tantrum.
Let
And
them
it's
throw
like
their
this isn't
tantrum
just
till
some
they're done.
tantrum. It says like 900 plus buildings are burned to the ground.
Yeah,
People are dying.
916 fires.
Yeah.
Only
2,300
Only
people
52
injured.
people died.
People are
like-
dying. That's
Yeah,
more people than
35
should be
people
dying.
But
died.
only 52.
But how many were hurt?
2,300.
Yeah, 2,300.
That's a lot.
That's
Yeah,
saying
no,
something.
yeah,
That's
that's
a lot
a
of
lot,
people who just
but
get
still.
hurt in a riot.
Not enough for the message.
Not enough for Mr. Eddie.
Nope, not enough for me.
So
Not enough for
it just,
the
it just
lower
kind of
master.
highlights the like ineffectiveness of the way like a bureaucrat would handle a riot.
Yeah.
And also
Because it was really poorly handled.
It was.
Yeah.
But it also like goes into the corruption of the police force. There's one. It's not even a scene because it literally happened where there's
Yeah.
like a city council meeting and the chief of LA police straight says like if you don't support us now, you know you're not gonna like what the police are gonna be like. And the guy's like, "Did you just threaten us?" And he's like, "I am so offended."
Yeah, he's like, "That's the
like
most
a
insulting
total
thing I've ever heard."
misdirection and non-answer of the question. Did you just threaten us?
And to make a point too, the documentary isn't trying to say that all cops are bad.
Not at all.
It's mainly, but it does like, hey, there are corrupt officers though. Like, and they make a point of that too when they show the people as well.
Yeah.
Because the people are saying like, we're not saying all cops are bad. We're just saying these cops
Yeah.
deserve jail time for what happened.
I'm not taking a side on any of the like current political stuff.
I am eat the rich.
I am
Eat the
ignorant
rich.
to all of everything because I am
Eat the rich, but also eat the poor.
kind of privileged, and I recognize that.
Only middle class.
But in this documentary, I can say without a doubt, there was definitely some favoritism among the criminal justice system toward
Yeah.
the cops who beat the shit out of Rodney King.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
Well, that's the
yeah.
thing too. Like, it's not even like a speculation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think that. No, it's straight up.
At
Like,
this
'cause
point-
when you watch the full Rodney King video,
There's
like,
no There's
I mean, sure, he
no
was
reason.
methed out, and yes, he did run from cops.
I don't know
but,
if he was methed out.
He was
Yeah,
at
they
least
say- they
drunk,
claim
he was drugged
possibly
up.
on meth.
Possibly.
Oh,
Yes.
possibly on meth.
But
Okay.
I
He
mean,
was at least drunk.
but
Rodney
again,
King coming back from sunny Fresno, California.
it's indisputable. Like, these cops are obviously excessive
That's
force
excessive
is being
force
used
beyond. Yeah.
because he's just on
It's
the
like
ground.
56 blows with a nightstick. He got tased
Yeah.
like 8 times. Like
Because they
Tased
made a
so
point of that
much.
too, like
He had a burnt on his.
Yeah,
on
his-
they
chest.
burnt
his
his chest
skin
with a
was
taser.
burned.
Yeah.
because of how much they tased him.
Yeah. I don't think that because
And the
it's a-
evidence was stacked against them too.
Yeah.
Like there was
The guy
enough
filmed
evidence
them
for them
yeah.
to. Yeah, there was evidence to put them away.
Yeah.
So
and
that's where you
why
see the
I'm
corruption, too.
saying that there was an inherent bias towards the police officers in this specific case.
Yeah.
And there were riots because of it.
And you see like the clear split between the people too,
Yeah.
like before the riots even start, because you have the guy who brought the cops donuts, and then you
Yeah.
have the black guy
There's
right
a
next to him that
dude.
says, "Hey, that's a disgusting thing for you to do," and then immediately there's an altercation, like a vocal
Yeah, they're
altercation
yelling at
between
each
the
other,
two.
yeah.
And but it's kind of funny because yes, there is a vocal altercation, and it's like yes, obviously these cops are bad, but they do point out too, which is weird, that they both have the legal right to think the way they're thinking.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that was that, and I don't know, that really stuck out to me because it's like
You know
they
what?
both said that to each other.
You know what scene stuck out to me? There's a scene outside the courtroom when one of the cops is standing outside the door on the day of the verdict.
Oh, the cinematic scene.
And he's just like staring at the ground and his hands on the door as it's almost as like he's waiting and he's like contemplating what's about to happen. And the first time like I went through it and watched it, I was like, man, this guy really seized his moment to be on camera and made a point about like showing the weight on his like soul about
Yeah.
like, am I about to be found innocent of beating an innocent man? Innocent because he was high.
and we were
but,
talking
like-
about it too. We're like,
and
man,
we,
you only get a
as it was
handful
happening,
of-
we were watching it together, and we were like, "Man, what a cinematic opportunity that was seized!"
yeah, and we're like, we were joking because we're like, well, you only get a certain amount of cinematic opportunities.
And then you realize that he was waiting for the guard to buzz the door so he could go in, and
was
it
a letdown.
totally crushes it because he
was a
just walks
letdown.
right in and strolls in like he's got nothing to worry
Yeah, 'cause-
about.
yeah.
And I was like, "Great, so you really are a piece of shit." Anyway,
Yeah.
I gave this movie a potato. I don't know how much more we can really go into it because it's straight archive footage of just what happened. So
And like
there's
I said,
not
that's
like there's nothing to interpret.
I mean, I think we could dig more into
No,
just a little bit into like
What?
how the
Go on,
riots ended up getting to where it was like now it's not even about empower like what I was saying earlier. It's
people
not even about
flipped from
empowering.
like sending a message to I want
Just
free
burning
shit.
stuff
just
down.
burn
Yeah.
it down because you really and I honestly it was I don't want to say it was hard to watch, but it did like make me feel like it really was heartbreaking to see
Clutches
people
baby.
like clutches baby harder. But like it was really heartbreaking. It was really heartbreaking to see when you see people who are being affected by these cases and like people like who are
Or
also
like,
black.
there's like an Asian woman
Yeah,
who's
and
like
then you
yelling,
see-
"It's not fair" because her store
Yeah.
burnt to the ground and she didn't do anything. Like
that's
a
you see
really
people who
hard
are
scene,
also
yeah.
in these like kind of, I don't want to say low class, but like this area that is
It's a little
also
more
like
run down, yeah.
yeah, that's on the same level as the black people that are in that community, and they're getting looted and their places are getting destroyed. And then you even have a scene where a black guy is walking up to the looters who are just standing around him and he's crying and yelling like, like I built this store from the ground up. This was my vision. You guys tarnished that. Like why? Like I understand why you're mad, but why are you hitting my store?
Right.
Like I'm part of you guys, and
He even says like I came up from where you were just to
Yeah.
do this, to live my dream, and you're
yeah,
now
I'm making
Yeah.
it too. And he's like, why'd you guys got to do that? He's like, and one of the things he says that really stuck out is like, and you call this black power. And it's like, and it really is like, it sticks out because it's like, yeah, you guys are like, they were calling it black power, but they're tearing down their own people as well and their own community as well. And I really like that the documentary showed that side of it as well. Because I mean, obviously the before that you just saw them where they're pulling white people out of their cars and beating them,
And,
almost beats
like,
one guy to death.
specifically saying like, don't stop the Mexicans, only pull out. He says pull
Whites
out
and
the white
Koreans,
people
yeah.
and Korean people. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's on tape. Someone says it on tape.
On tape, yeah.
Because it's the
on
90s.
tape.
Yeah.
It's true now. It's on tape.
on tape.
Coming to you live on tape. No,
So, yeah, I mean that's really all you can dig into.
yeah,
because-
it's pretty straightforward because it's archive footage. It happened. No one's going to be like the riots didn't happen.
Yeah.
There is no climate change, but the riots did happen.
the Armenian genocide didn't happen.
What the f?
No, like it's like that.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
people
I
who
thought
say-
you were
No,
saying
it
that,
happened.
bro. Yeah,
Confirmed
no.
it happened. I took the class.
I confirmed it. I was there.
Oh my god!
I took the Armenian studies class. It happened.
It was me.
Yeah,
It was. I started it. I was the first shot. But
Serge Tankin is going to see this video and hate us.
oh my god.
Oh jeez. But
No,
yes,
no,
but
yeah.
so it's archive footage. It did happen. It's
Yeah.
an awesome documentary of just you want facts, you want no opinions, no
Yeah,
biases.
because
Just
there's
watch it.
there's nobody in between
No
to
one
say like, oh yeah,
talks.
this is what happened. Then
There's
like,
no
nothing.
voiceover outside of the reporters that are reporting live as it's happening. Which
Yeah.
some people are going to be like, well, news is fake. This isn't like
because it's also like unedited.
there's
footage as
nothing
well.
that could
52 people die.
Yeah.
That should be like.
Yeah. And like
There you go.
you see 15-year-old you see the full security footage
You see
of her
the-
getting shot
the
in the
full
back of the
tape.
head and
Shot in
dropping
the back
dead.
of the head,
You
yep.
see the full tape of Rodney King. You get the
Yeah.
full like
Yeah.
police chatter.
Yeah.
Like you get all of the like you're in it.
Yeah.
I would love a straight up like actual biopic movie about
There probably
Latasha.
already is one.
Just but just
Oh, about
specifically
Latasha? I don't know if
Latasha,
there's one
where
about Latasha.
the beginning is the Rodney King stuff, and then you have the climactic point where Latasha gets
She
shot.
goes to buy her orange juice.
Yeah,
She gets shot in the
and then
head.
you see the aftermath, like
Yeah.
the last 20 minutes are the aftermath of what
just
happens.
destruction. Yeah.
And just as
well,
she
the
drops
riots are
the orange
fascinating.
Juice, it's OJ.
Oh,
She's holding OJ.
oh my God, it's OJ. Illuminati.
It's all convinced.
An
Illuminati.
infinite loop just opens
Oh my
up right
God.
there.
Portal opens.
I find the riots fascinating.
A text comes out of the government. Come
You
outside.
need to stop.
We got him.
I find the riots fascinating, and I was born in '95.
I was born in 95.
And Eddie was born in '94.
94, yeah.
So like we weren't even alive when they happened, but like a lot of people were.
Yeah.
That we still know, and a lot of people remember like what were you doing when the riots happened?
Yeah.
Rioting.
And it's
Rioting. Looting.
It's just crazy that this thing happened in
Yeah.
like an advanced society where we have like law and order.
Yeah.
And then it was basically ignored to protect some white cops, and then society fell apart.
It wasn't even the fact that they were white. It was just that they were cops.
Yeah, I think so.
Like
yeah.
that was really the main thing
Yeah.
because it wasn't like they could have been.
just
They
happened
could have
to
been
be.
black cops, and this still would have been an issue.
I don't know. They brought up the racism that may have been inherent in the cops.
Yeah, that's true. They were
Yeah.
racist too.
Well, they had
Well,
the
definitely
radio.
Coon was.
They had the
Officer Coon was definitely racist.
they had the radio
My name
chatter.
is Officer Coon.
Well,
Maybe my name sounds racist.
They had the radio chatter
Yeah,
where
refer
they
to
were
him as
calling him a
gorilla.
gorilla, a lizard.
And I really like that they brought that
He's
up
a
in
wizard.
court too, because they were like, "Were you in a jungle?" And like you could tell he was like, "What?
What?
But it's like,
Oh,
no, it's
then
because
he goes,
of what you
He
said.
goes,
Like,
"Did you see, or were there any gorillas?" And he goes, "I didn't see any."
yeah, like like there was a possibility that there
Why
was.
would there be
like,
a gorilla?
But yeah,
So I think
definitely a great watch, but
Yeah.
it's not like
Secretly, all
it's
of
not
this,
a feel good movie.
It's
all
not a
of this was
feel-good
caused by
documentary,
gorillas.
Oh, geez.
this isn't like, oh hey, let's gather the
It
family
ended with
around.
Harambe.
It's not like let's gather the family
It's just
around,
Planet
make
of
some
the Apes
popcorn and
going on in
watch.
the background. We just don't realize.
Like this, yeah. This isn't like, hey, let's get the family and sit around and watch.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is-
like if you want to know like an unedited version of what happened. This is the movie to go to.
Yeah, it's actually really great if you are like
Yeah.
a millennial who's too young to remember it. It's a great way to educate yourself briefly.
Yeah, because you
on-
could watch
yeah.
it and you feel like, oh yeah. Next movie,
Let's move on to Moon.
Moon Man. So, Moon.
No, I'm just sweating. It's hot.
Why are you sweating?
My jacket is
Yeah, why are you wearing
very
a jacket?
warm.
We're in
Oh, because it
Lowell's.
was raining when I left.
Yeah, well, it's super rainy and windy today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just answered my. You're on my question.
Why are you sweating? Well, it's rainy.
No, I meant the second part where he's like, "Why are you wearing a jacket?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I keep it. Okay.
on,
I
Anyway,
came in with a jacket. It took
Go
a
on.
so
Moon.
so Moon is
about
Brandon is
outfits.
actually the clone.
So Moon is about this takes place in like the distant future.
I think it's the recent future. Not too
The
distant.
recent future.
Well, it's like 2030
Not too
something,
distant.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
future.
2030.
It's
something.
some
so
some
near
general- yeah.
It's
distant.
not too distant. Is the
Not too
word.
distant future. Pretty much, obviously, the world is in an energy
The world's
crisis.
covered in ammonia, and our DNA is refracted.
and we're enhancing humans to go live on Titan. But so, pretty much, we figured out a way to solve the energy crisis that's affecting Earth, which is we're going to harness helium-3 from the moon. Because, what was the science behind it?
I don't think they actually explain it.
It's just magic space.
What
stuff.
made me happy that they
Magic-
didn't, because they didn't come up with some bull reason like other movies that we've watched recently.
Yeah, where they try to explain
to
it.
explain it with refracted DNA.
Well, I mean, we can just assume that.
Basically, my guess was because the sun produces helium.
Yeah.
It just
And it's
does.
made of helium.
I think that because Earth's atmosphere is so dense and the magnetic field just moves that there's no helium on Earth. But since the moon has no atmosphere, I imagine it's just been ramming into the moon the whole time we've had the moon. And
And
that's
they're
why
harnessing-
that's why it's on the backside of the moon.
And they're harnessing it from the moon rocks.
They're basically using big old drills to dig up the surface, whatever, and it filters out the helium.
Well, they're not drills. They're rovers that
Yeah.
They
kinda
take the surface. They don't
What
go
are those,
in.
What are those tractors that go through the fields and they just
Yeah, they're
cross
like that.
the-
They're like that.
Go plow.
Yeah,
They're like
or
plows.
whatever, yeah.
They're like rover plows.
And they
Mr.
they
Plow,
catch the helium
that's
and they
my
put it in little
name.
tanks, and then when they fill up, he's got to go, get them.
Yeah.
They-
And so we follow our main character, Sam, who's played by Sam Rockwell.
Played by
And
Sam
his,
Worthington.
And his computer, Gertie, which is actually voiced by Kevin Spacey.
I know it made me uncomfortable.
Was that for?
I don't
really?
care.
That was Kevin Spacey.
It was
Yeah, it was
Kevin
Kevin
Spacey.
Spacey.
And
But,
I didn't even realize that.
it was Kevin Spacey the whole time.
and he was just molesting him in the background.
no.
Separate the art from the
Go to-
artist. But
go to
Kevin
sleep.
Spacey,
Go to
as
sleep, Sam. I
The
wanna-
robot was actually
wanna
really
get in
cool.
bed with you.
I thought
but-
that the robot was clever as
I thought the robot at the end was going to be released from some sort of
Yeah.
imprisonment it had, and it was going to be like, "No, I'm going to up."
no.
With the whole reboot, oh yes, this whole
Can I
thing.
steal one of these?
Yeah, go for it.
I've been looking
I felt
at
like
them.
the whole thing was
Tough
leading up for that reboot he wanted, so that he would. Because it seemed like he wanted the reboot drastically, the fact that he
Yeah.
brought it up the way he did. I just assumed there was going to be a nefarious aspect to it, but there wasn't. It
Well,
was
he also
just,
said,
yeah.
I'm assigned to help you.
Yeah, but
I don't think the
felt like-
robot has a way of interpreting that.
But anyway,
Yeah, that robot. It seemed
So-
like a really weird way of interpreting it. Obviously, he kept things secret from the people who he should probably be programmed to work above for. You
Yeah.
know, he was talking to head honchos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shouldn't he?
Bothered me that he had to use the video communicator to do it.
Yeah, you're a f***ing robot.
You're
Can't
a
you text
robot.
them? yeah.
Can't you
they don't need to see you.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
literally a smiley face picture that changes.
You could send yourself.
Right? Why
Yeah.
would you?
I dug
Anyway.
that he was a smiley face picture.
So-
Even though that he was that, it was so much emotion to it.
Yeah, it was clever.
Yeah.
So we follow Sam and his robot companion Gertie as they're up there working because the thing is that he's the only one, as we know right now,
Yeah.
he's the only one on the moon that's helping harness all or
At
siphon
this
all this
station,
helium.
there are other people at other stations on the moon.
At least we assume.
No, he doesn't know that. He thinks
because the Eliza mission, he wasn't like surprised that other people were there. They're just on the other like end of the moon.
Well, then why was he? Oh, he thought.
At his specific station, he's
the only one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and
there are other stations.
specific stations, but like
Okay, but they're far.
yeah, they're far away because like you don't need a bunch of people to go up there and watch some drones.
Okay, so he knew there were other people, but
that'll like yeah.
so he's out there. You follow him in his everyday routine. He has a contract that he's going to work for 3 years,
Right,
and
he's
then
got
they
2
get to
weeks
send him
left.
home. He's got 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And so
But he's not looking so good.
yeah, no, that's not yet.
Yeah,
No,
doesn't
it
happen
starts.
No,
pretty
no,
much
not at
as
the
soon
I
as-
mean, a little.
He has a
he's-
beard, but then he
yeah,
shaves it.
He shaves it.
But he's not getting
running
sick.
fine. He's doing his thing.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the-
not really for the last.
I don't want to get there
We'll get
yet,
into
but
it. Yeah.
so he's out there, and then he starts hallucinating.
Well, there-
Yeah.
there you
Oh
go.
yeah, you're right. Okay, I forgot.
Up, Brandon.
I'm sorry, Eddie. But
I also need to apologize because I immediately backed him up.
He starts
don't blindly
hallucinating.
follow Jordan. Be a leader. But
And he was having heart
Who was
and
that
stomach
lady
trouble.
who he saw?
yeah,
That was his
because
wife.
no, it wasn't because she had long hair. I thought.
he was hallucinating.
It was just her in like different look.
Oh,
So he
She had
starts
dark
he starts
hair
he
in that
starts
hallucination too,
hallucinating.
didn't she?
yeah. I don't.
Oh well,
yeah.
that actually answers my question that I have later too, because I had a question the whole time, like why is he all of a sudden hallucinating? But it actually ties in.
Yeah, 'cause
so
yeah.
he starts hallucinating and starts seeing stuff, and that starts affecting his work because then we find out that one of his what he thinks is a drone rover that's out there getting the surface to get the helium. It starts like stalling, right?
Yeah,
Or something's wrong with
He's
it.
got to go out there and like free.
He's
it
gotta
from-
go
it
out
gets,
there
like,
and fix
stuck.
it.
Yeah, because there's
So he goes out and he's
robots.
in his rover and he's fixing. He goes out to fix it, and then he's pulling up right behind it, and then the dust starts getting in the windshield, blocking his vision, and then he starts hallucinating where he sees a girl like on the rover,
Yeah, like standing on the moon
standing
on the
it.
rover.
and then he crashes into it,
Ah,
and so he crashes and then falls asleep, and then he wakes up back in the base with Gertie there and saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, you had an accident."
But he looks suspiciously better than he did
Oh,
before
yeah.
we saw
Yeah.
him.
he's one fit boy when he wakes
He's a
up.
fit boy, and oh my god, I didn't notice that.
You dumb.
I really didn't know. I thought it was him.
Yeah,
Like, I thought it was the one that crashed.
I didn't
No,
notice that
no.
either. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, yeah, he's a lot better off
Fam,
than he
he
was.
goes
beforehand.
out and finds himself.
No, but when he wakes up after the accident,
Yeah.
I thought that was still him.
Yeah,
But he
is
does
it-
look better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whoa!
that's the new Sam.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He just
That's
woken
the
up
fit
the
boy.
clone.
Oh, that's the fit boy.
So this
Okay,
Sam,
so-
there's
so-
fit
okay,
Sam
we haven't-
and there's old Sam.
We haven't
All right,
gotten to that yet.
We haven't gotten to that, but spoiler.
So, yeah,
so
he wakes
he
up-
wakes up and then
There's also Black Sam.
so he wakes up and then he asks,
shoulders are
what happened. He
stretching.
says, Gertie just says you had an accident, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and then it starts getting
Sam.
to where
Sam.
There's a character named Sam in Game of Thrones.
perfectly balanced, but so
Thread it,
and then
run from it.
And then Gertie starts being a little shady
Destiny
to where
comes
he's
all
talking
the
to
same.
people. He's talking to the people on the land,
should I say hi
but
to?
then afterwards there's no more live connection.
Yeah.
And so
Well, wait. I thought that every time he went out, there was no live connection.
yeah, so when he goes out there's
Yeah.
no live connection, but when Gertie's talking to the people, he's
Yeah,
talking
there's
to a live
live
feed.
connection, baby.
So Gertie's starting to be a little shady. And then he starts getting to where
Gertie's a
Little
sketch
Gert
ball.
rolled high on his deception.
No, but Gertie really is a fucking sketch ball.
I have
They
to,
really should
I have to edit a I have to edit a close up every time you make a D&D reference. and wink.
They really should have done like
D
a
plus
weird,
D?
Yeah,
a weird
D plus
ending
D.
where like the reality of this is like somehow Gertie got some big like win out of this. It was all
Did
for
he's the
Gertie.
same? He's the same person in the end. 'Cause
Gertie.
he's taking care of Sam.
No, but I mean like a big win, like something like Gertie's
He
free
had an
now.
end game to it.
Like
yeah.
Gertie uploads his fucking consciousness into one of
Into
Sam's
Sam.
bodies.
No, but that's not what happens.
But anyway, so
That would've been dope.
So we start getting to where Sam is. They don't want him to go out and fix it. They don't
well,
want
they're
him to go
basically
out and
saying
fix
like you
that
need to
rover
rest because you just got in an accident, bro.
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it gets to where it's like days are going
Yeah,
by,
and he's
then-
bored.
Well, okay, so a part of that is every time they bring out a new clone, they lie to it and say that he had gotten in an accident during his shuttle.
We
Getting
haven't even
there.
gotten to the clones
We
yet.
haven't revealed.
Well,
that
I
it's a
know,
clone.
but we gotta explain this part. I
Yeah,
think.
that's true.
And at this point, we've already revealed it.
Yeah, we already revealed
He's
his
a
clones.
clone.
He's a clone. He's a Meeseeks.
possibly a robot.
Would have been great if this.
Gertie does not make one mistake the entire movie. As Sam is leaving, young Sam, fit boy, he says, we'll both be reprogrammed. And he has to turn back to say, no. You don't reprogram Sam's, we're alive. And then Gertie just makes that little flat face.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
Yeah. But it is a clone, though, because we know near the
Okay.
end. In the end, though, they specifically...
Okay.
You. Near the
No,
end,
that's
they
a good theory to have. Because,
That's fair, though, yeah.
Gertie
Okay.
isn't wrong.
He
Yeah,
never makes a mistake the whole movie.
It's a question...
Why would you establish a character who's always right and then be like, but this one time he was wrong?
He was being right, though. He was just... Sam was
but the
distinguishing
clones
that
aren't
he no
programmed, though.
longer... Technically
they are because
even
they're
people
forced
are
to believe they had an
programmed. Yeah.
accident.
Yes. So that depends on your loose definition
Yeah.
of the term program.
Programmed.
Except when you take it in the context of what Gertie was talking about
Well,
in
I
that
mean,
moment from
Sam
a reboot.
That's
is
true,
literally
because-
Sam is literally only meant to live for 3 years.
Yes.
So he is literally programmed to die in
Yeah.
3 years.
No, but
so you,
no,
he's
but when,
programmed.
No, but when Gertie is saying because Sam is at this point, Sam is talking about I'll reboot you, Gertie. To
Yeah.
where, but and Gertie is talking about how we'll both be rebooted.
Well, he meant the other Sam that when
No, he was talking to
Yes,
him.
He meant the third Sam.
I think
was talking
he
to
was
Fit
talking
Boy.
about third Sam.
He was talking about the
No.
third Sam that they brought up. Yeah.
Yeah, because
they
he
brought a
was
third
still
Sam
out.
up so that
so
they
he's
could-
the one
yeah.
who would have been rebooted. But
Oh.
also,
But still, I feel like there's some ambiguity, and
Yeah.
I liked it. It wasn't done
Fair
in a way
enough.
that was
It's
like
it's a good
oh,
ambiguous.
the big reveal. Like it's like could it be?
I think
it's not
I
like
think
Natalie
it's-
Portman made it out of the forest.
I think it's more
It's
of
not
a
annihilation ambiguous.
not
I think it's
Annihilation.
more of a like this is
What
just
is this? Some kind of moon?
Yes, what is this? Some kind of moon? I think it's more of a like this was his claiming of his humanity and just being like, no, I'm a person, and that's why he also sets up that other Sam to not just exist forever, like perpetually up there.
Well, let's work our way back through the story.
Yeah, so-
So he's up. He's locked in his
he's pretty much
base.
locked in
Yeah.
confinement on the station because they don't want him to go out and work. He creates this elaborate ruse where like, I need to fix a leak on the outside.
He breaks something, yeah.
Yeah, and so Gertie, he says, I'm only going to go fix the shell. And Gertie's like, only to fix the shell. And then lets him go.
And then he
goes
immediately
on a
doesn't
whole-
do that.
Yeah, he goes on a whole pretty much long expedition to go back to where that crash was.
I mean, what's Gertie gonna do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gertie's not going to do anything about it. But he gets to the
Nukes him.
rover and actually opens up the rover that he crashed into, and there's a person in there. And
my
he takes the
God.
person back to the station. Is like, Gertie, we got to help this guy. He's hurt. Blah blah blah. And then you wake
It's
up, and it's another Sam.
It's our old boy who
the
crashed.
our old
it's
boy.
the original Sam we started.
we
not
got-
the original,
yeah.
but it is
well,
an old boy.
Our OG for the story.
Yeah,
For the story, at this
story,
point.
it's the Sam who had 2 weeks left.
Sick
Yeah.
boy.
He's sick boy now
He's
because he
sick
looks
boy.
like
Boy
garbage.
Sam.
So we got sick boy and fit boy.
Yeah.
And so,
And
yeah.
they have a whole few days where they're just trying to
Yeah,
come to terms
they
with the
become
F.
Back, yeah. Which is actually very heartbreaking because then you start getting to where sick boy is realizing he's a clone. 'Cause he
Yeah.
asks Gertie,
Yeah.
am I really a clone?
Fit Boy gets it right away. What's going on?
Yeah.
He's like wise to the whole thing.
He's
but-
more nihilistic about
Yeah,
it
sick
Yeah.
boy.
than sick boy is.
Sick Boy is dying. So
I like that we're taking
he really
this
wanted
fit
to
boy,
go
sick
home.
boy, and
Because it's a
running
good
with
way to tell him
No,
apart.
it is. It is
Yeah.
because they're the
Sam
same
1, Sam
character.
2.
And
Yeah.
you know what?
I was
loved,
actually thinking old man Sam and young man Sam because he kind of talks to him as if he's.
He does. He talks to him as if he's some wise old version of him.
Oh,
but
you
it's
don't
literally
know how to
3
do
years.
that. Yeah. Let me show you how you carve.
I loved the scene that they filmed with them playing ping pong,
Yeah.
especially when you consider that it's the same actor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Really well edited.
Yeah, it looked really clean.
Yeah.
And he's
I like
freaking the F
some
out because he's not good at
misdirects we
ping pong.
get, like that weird little fight they have where he's all like, "Give me the knife." I thought for sure he was gonna Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, me
was just
too.
Gonna gank him, yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna stab him in the throat. And it
But
was
I like
gonna
that
be
he tells me, he
some
goes,
weirdo thing.
I'm you. You're not going to stab me, Sam.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But so sick boy starts getting progressively sick.
Like
more
way
and
bad,
more.
like
Yeah.
Where
puking
he is
blood.
like-
yeah,
His
It goes
teeth
from where
are
he's-
falling out. His nose is leaking blood. His whole
Yeah.
body's just slowly
it's like falling apart, almost
Yeah.
as if he's not designed to live for more than 3 years.
You wouldn't say.
But yeah, and like kind of it goes from where he's
What
throwing
am I?
up.
Some sort of suicide? What is this? Some sort of
No, it's
suicide?
kind of genetic murder.
So he goes from where he literally goes from where
Or
he's throwing
refracted
up blood to
DNA.
the next day.
Yeah.
He blows his nose and it's covered in blood.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Like it's
ridiculous.
bad.
It's
And he's like
ridiculous.
sweating and all that. Well, whatever. So he's dying.
But there's also like some character development.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
character development.
Because he has a wife and a daughter at home that
Yeah.
he's expected to go home to, and he video messages with them.
Yeah.
And
And it's kind of funny because at this point, once you realize they're clones, you start thinking, are they even real? Like I started having that thought, I'm like, oh, are the family even real, or is that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a ruse?
right.
But then it turns out because Sick Boy is out and he's able to lie.
Well, because he goes out further than he's ever gone, and he finds jammers.
We've gotten ahead of ourselves. They start
not really after the fight.
Well, they start questioning what else about the shuttle they don't know.
Oh, true. They're looking for like a secret room.
Yeah, so they start looking.
He hasn't hit the secret room.
He doesn't hit it until he gets back.
No, he video chats his family and then
he comes back and finds the secret room. Yeah.
No, I know, but he finds it after he video chats. But earlier on,
oh yeah, Fit Boy had a suspicion that there's a secret room.
That's what starts the fight because he flips over his model.
Literally, Fit Boy like right off the bat knows that okay, there's everywhere that we need to look.
They're in on this. It ain't right.
And just like Fit Boy surmised,
how can the world be real if our eyes aren't real?
But yeah, a lot of things.
Don't get existential on me, Jordan.
A lot of things ended up being just as Fit Boy prophesized.
Yes.
As they went farther away from their main place, they found a bunch of antennas that were blocking
which were jamming the live signal that they couldn't fix. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
they couldn't. Yeah, because they made a point like, we're gonna fix it, and they never fix it.
And then so there's this weird coffin thing where apparently Sam, when he's finally done with this contract, is supposed to like slip into.
Well, it's supposed to like freeze him so that he can fly back to Earth.
Yeah.
But then instead he just
incinerates.
It just like burns him, and then he like gets like
kind of like the twist to what happened to Monday. Spoilers. If you guys ever
I almost finished that, but it was so I stopped.
The ending's actually cool.
But anyway, so he gets.
No potatoes.
He gets microwaved, incinerated, and then literally.
Well, he doesn't. He discovers that he would be if he went.
Well, no, I mean every.
And then you start.
The previous Sams.
Yeah, he sees security footage of previous Sams getting into it.
Gertie,
and then Gertie will literally vacuum him out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He sees security footage of past Sams going into the
I
car.
like how literally right next to him that means another Sam is just out as he's destroyed
because he ends up finding a secret room as Fit Boy predicted, and it's full of just
Sams that
were they Sam bodies or Sam embryos?
They were Sam bodies.
Okay.
He pulls out like a thing of a
I could have sworn I saw a
man.
tiny little Sam embryo.
I mean, there might be some down the hall, but the next one was ready and in a drawer.
Why not just pull all the Sams out at once and have an army
then
of
just
Sam?
kill them all?
Yeah, have an army of Sams.
I would just gank them all.
Gank all yourselves?
Yeah. Why am I gonna give this shell evil corporation this right to use us as slaves and let us die?
I would rather just have them all be free with me to riot.
Yeah, but you only
have. But how do you wake him up? Do you tell Gertie we're gonna start a coup? Wake him up?
Yes!
He's gonna be like, nah, bro.
No, you see, Gertie's willing to do whatever it takes. You just
Gertie
have to
does turn out to be
pretty much
quite
Gertie's the
boy.
MVP.
All you have to pretty much be like, is Gertie, I need it. You know what? Fine.
But
I can ignore the prime directive for anybody other than you.
The army's pointless though because they would only be alive for 3 years.
And there's not enough resources.
I know. I just think it'd be cool.
It would be cool.
But
anyway,
he
finds that secret room.
A Sam cannot marry another Sam.
He tells Fit Boy, it's like the Citadel of Ricks, but for super shitty people. He tells Fit Boy about the secret room. They go in and find it. They explore whatever.
And then they find out that there's actually a team that's going to come and
they knew about this team for a while.
We didn't mention it.
At what point we
didn't mention it. So there's a team that's coming to rescue, quote unquote, rescue Sam, Eliza, and send them home.
Which they discover to be basically if they find two of us awake, they're going to just gank us and wake up a new one.
Exactly. Which they even
they were going to gank them anyway.
They come in just ready like that. They just
they
had
their
weapons
weapons in hand, ready to go.
And when they when they finally do show up, they don't enter right away.
No,
they're outside like Sam. You in here? But
but wait, at what point does the call happen? Is that before?
The call is before it because Sick Boy goes out by himself.
Yes, Sick Boy leaves.
Sick Boy goes out by himself on the moon, and then he actually goes farther than he's been past the jammers, and he's able to have a live feed, and he calls his family,
or he calls who he hopes is his wife.
He calls his hope, but his daughter answers, which is a teenager now. And the whole time you've seen his daughter, she's only like a little girl.
She's like 4.
Yeah, she's like 4.
Which shows you how much real time is actually passed.
Because he's like the 3rd or 4th version of himself.
And we get the revelation that there is an OG Sam, and
he's home,
and he's there.
Yeah, we can assume
because he's asking about her mother, and then she says, "My mom died like a couple years ago." Yeah. And then she goes, "Dad, somebody's asking about Mom." And then he says, "Who?" And then you hear that it's the original Sam. And in case you can't figure it out, there's a caption that says "Original Sam."
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But so there is the original Sam is home. We don't know if he went and did this mission or not.
Well, no,
but he is home.
I assumed that what happened was the original Sam did do this mission like a long time ago, and after his 3-year commitment was up, they were looked at the spreadsheet and were like, "Oh, this costs so much money
to hire just a new person."
Yeah, but you know what? We've got all his poo and piss and
What?
DNA and stuff. That
Why are we
I believe that.
assuming it's nefarious? What if, or it's so like
It's not
shady.
that it's
What if
nefarious,
he
it's
literally was just like, yeah, take my DNA, do whatever you want.
I assume that he did
could
not
be.
give them permission because near the end it's alluded to that. I imagine that the very new Sam at the very end, our blank Sam is gonna immediately call
Blank boy.
his girlfriend and get his daughter or himself, and then they'll be like, "What the bro?" And he'll be like, "Damn it! I checked the box saying no, they couldn't use my DNA to have slave clones."
Well,
I mean,
of
that's the
course
thing,
he
too.
would
Don't
say
they,
that,
They
though.
mention it at the
Fair.
end, though, too. Like, oh, like they're...
Yeah, like that. I
they're-
wonder. That would be interesting. I feel like he's in super hot water for like selling himself into slavery.
And
like
then
that.
he's just like, no, I promise I told him no. And then they can't, like, it's not in writing.
Yeah.
There's no contract that says, hey,
Yeah,
you
like, well,
can use
we've
my
looked at your
DNA.
finances and you got a bonus that makes no
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
so-
kind of, they don't really say, I choose to believe that he was like some executive.
It
And,
doesn't
like-
sound like he's an executive.
Why?
Well, his
Well,
house
because
is really
they
nice.
create-
he has
the
to have.
memories.
From what you
no,
see
but he
in his
has
house,
to have
though.
the skills to be an astronaut to send up there. That was the whole point.
Skills.
That's
You
He
can
even
do
talks
anything.
about it. Remember my first time, our first time in flight school, learning how to fly.
That's
he brings
true.
that up.
They don't just
Oh,
send
yeah.
anybody
he's
to space.
a straight up
Yeah.
military
He must
like
have been.
flyboy,
And plus, you have to be trained
I just
to work
don't
all
think-
that
and
space
that's why
equipment.
it's a 3-year contract.
I don't
get-
think he did 3 years.
I think you're thinking of you're getting your ideas mixed in with that movie Total Recall, because in Total Recall he's an executive who just allowed them to mix his mind up.
that would make sense.
But,
I'm easily influenced by any other movie I've ever seen.
So he pretty much FaceTimes his family,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
realizes that, oh my god,
Like,
I
it's been a
truly
long
am a
time,
clone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know the original Sam is home,
This
and
is
he
Old
pretty
Boy,
much
yeah.
Old Boy.
no Sick Boy,
Sick Boy, sorry.
and then Sick Boy just breaks down in the rover,
He had sex
which
with
is
his
so
daughter,
it's
Old
so
Boy.
sad though, because it's like. It's weird because, like, it's weird to feel sad because he's a clone, but you're really seeing a clone's perspective,
Yeah.
and realizing he's a clone, that he's
yeah.
not real, technically.
He
Well,
has
he's-
no life.
that's what.
Yeah,
it is.
like-
it's not
like-
that he's not real. It's just he's
Well, he's not the real one.
he's
basically.
not the OG. He's
Even if he goes home, it's for nothing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the other one, he clearly says like I'm gonna go
travel.
off and live like some bum life.
Yeah.
like doing like
And then he ends up not doing
yeah.
it.
Well, we can assume that it could have been him. It could have been Sam 6. It could have been the Sam that was on there. But I also wonder if that Sam that was on there, the blank Sam that broke the news.
Could be.
But so
I also wonder if like
Well, hold on,
immediately
let's
when
get
he broke
to
the
that
so
news,
point.
sick,
he
so
fucking
sick,
killed
yeah.
it.
Sick Boy and Fit Boy devise a plan to pretty much that the original plan is that Sick Boy is going to fly back home to Earth. They're going to escape before the
Because
Eliza
the
team
way they
comes.
get the helium back to Earth is through this like crazy like launcher from the base that goes to Earth like like crazy fast.
Crazy fast.
Takes like 3 days.
Yeah.
Until they were like, we could fit a person in here, like we could do it. It
Yeah,
would be
so the
uncomfy,
plan-
but you
So
could
did
do
you just
it.
pop out and just start knocking people the
Whoever
Because I imagine
because they're gonna expect like, oh cool, our helium shipment arrived, but then you open it and it's just like some factory just get
like,
ganked
like
right at
Captain
the start.
Boomerang and Suicide Squad. when
Yeah.
they
Because like
let him out of the bag.
I imagine they must have like thought of this. Like
Yeah.
somebody must have thought, what if like just one of the clones kind of got
tries
any
to
idea?
escape.
Yeah, exactly.
So they devise that plan, and then pretty much Sick Boy gets progressively more sick. And at the end, Sick Boy says, "You know what? No, you go. You know, you had a great plan. You're just sending the wrong guy."
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So-
Sick Boy was not gonna go.
Yeah,
we,
he
we,
wasn't
we
gonna-
all
wouldn't have
should have
made it.
guessed
We knew
it.
he wasn't
was
gonna go.
deteriorating so quickly. I don't think he would have made it.
He wouldn't have
Yeah,
made
his
it.
tooth was coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, he was
nuts.
He was
Yeah,
vomiting
that
blood.
point.
He was just it was nonstop. He was going
And
down.
so the plan switches to where now Fit Boy is going to.
And Fit Boy
escape.
just came into existence, so like he's got a
Yeah.
full 3 years.
Yeah, he's got a whole 3 years before he's going down.
So he's got
I
the body
genuinely
for it.
hope though that he figured out that like the clones only have 3 years. Because if he gets to Earth and he's like, I did it, and then he like
no,
just goes and
I think
travels.
He knew. I think everybody kind of got.
I
that.
hope so. I
I
hope
mean,
that there's
why
some
else
kind of cure.
would the other one be like deteriorating so obviously? Other than
Yeah.
it's clearly a 3-year
I mean, there's a few
contract.
times Fit Boy asks like, "Are you all right?"
And also, like, well, we only really know it because of Sick Boy looking at the videos. That all
True.
the other ones
All
were
the other
also
ones are dying,
dying.
yeah.
And
I just
so-
hope that conversation
And
happens.
they all aged like ridiculously fast for a 3-year period. Like
Yeah.
if you look at the videos, they all look like they have
Old.
old man beards and shit. Some of them were.
Yeah.
One of them was balding. I noticed
Yeah.
that, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
trippy.
Well, Gertie says that they have genetic variation.
Yeah.
That's true. And
All
that's
of them
probably why a
are
couple
slightly
of them had-
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so-
that's why
Which
some
is
were
why
a little,
Fit Boy looks like he's more athletic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I also know some of them were blonder and some of them were darker haired.
Yeah. And so they change the plan, and pretty much they're getting everything ready to escape. And then Gertie drops the bomb like, hey, I have footage of all of this. and pretty much
It wasn't really that much of a bomb because like right after that she's all like, "Oh, I can reboot you.
Yeah,
you can
like-
reboot me."
yeah, and then
Like then why
Gertie-
is this a problem,
Gertie
Gertie?
pretty much becomes a team player because he says his main directive is to help Sam.
Help Sam Bell, yeah.
Help
and
Sam
since
Bell.
all of that Sam Bell, he's obligated to help.
Only
And,
if
and I
you
like
can
that he
help
asked him.
me,
He's like,
Sam
"Why would
Bell."
you help me?" And he goes,
And
I'm
by-
afraid I can't let you do that, Michael.
Dude, I actually had a note that said, "I'm really glad this didn't turn into a house situation."
Well, I thought for
Like,
sure there was going to be something at the end where it's like, "Oh, turns out I'm going to put my mind in your body."
I can see your lips move. But and so Gertie says, my main directive is to help Sam Bell. So I'll reboot my system and erase all this footage of you as planning to escape and finding your clone, and then the new guy will pretty much be the Sam Bell that they find. And so Fit Boy escapes.
Well, Fit
I'm
Boy does
guessing
one thing before he
Oh
escapes.
yeah, he sets the coordinates on
He-
one of
he
the
He sets
reprograms
the
the
coordinates of
drones.
one of the drone rovers to crash into the signal jammer so that they'll have live feeds.
Yeah,
which
and
is
once-
cool. It's a good
and once
thing. to do.
that happens,
And he
yeah.
totally risks getting caught to do it. Like
Yeah,
he
because
has like
he had
a minute.
He had
yeah.
a minute left, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then it wasn't like one of those things like, "What are you doing?" And then they do something dumb.
Yeah.
it,
It
was
was
like, "What are you
super
doing?"
cool.
And then
and
he
it
does
was
it, and you're like,
there was a time
"Oh."
delay too, so it's not like it did it instantly. It took like
Yeah.
a couple of hours to get
Right,
there.
but they don't know that it's They
I
don't-
know,
they're
but
not
like
gonna check the
I
path,
mean that
yeah.
because like obviously the guys who are there have to leave before
Yeah.
Yeah.
the signal
I
reestablishing
mean,
can happen.
they're not booking it on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he escapes. The plan works. He makes it to Earth, and then you start hearing news footage of how
Did not like
now
that
there's
ending
clone.
news footage. Montage.
Yeah, that
kinda
exposition was
crappy.
kind of. It would have been cooler to see him like in a courtroom. Or
like what's
something.
with that weird ending? Where it's like
Yeah.
he's either a crazy person or he's
Yeah, they
an
said he's not even
immigrant.
from here.
I'm
He's
like, what the does that
Well,
mean?
because people are arguing about clone rights at that point.
I get that, but that's still like
Yeah.
a beyond the point.
definitely-
it is sort of
beyond the
not
point.
necessary.
It definitely would have been better to actually see. Like, it would have been better to see him arrive and then go to court and then like talk
And then,
about
like-
how he's a clone.
He's
or
like, I want my
or like
dog.
his voice testifying as he's sitting on like a beach in Hawaii, like he talked about, or something.
Yeah.
Sort of
That
like
would've been
soaking
better.
up the sun.
But
Yeah,
pretty
something
much,
like that.
yeah. It's
or then
just
like
like
a 3
it's
year
like-
later, as he's in the hospital, like we should have known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the different clones just
and like doing
together.
the tell all while he's dying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually a clone. But anyway, it's like news audio
Yeah.
about how all these now there's news of clones and how
I really
But it's
feel
weird because
like-
don't they say at one point like, oh, the company that said they weren't using clones now comes out that they're using clones.
Yeah, apparently this was a scandal that was like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their stocks started dropping heavily.
Heavily
Yeah, they
because
lost a
of
bunch
the
of
fact that
money,
they're
yeah.
using clones as slave labor.
Well, it's also because I'm assuming they were fined and taxed, and like people went to prison and for
probably.
slave labor, and because
So-
human cloning is super illegal. I imagine
It is
even in there.
now. I can't imagine it becomes super legal all of a sudden, especially when they keep dying like that.
Yeah.
I imagine that's a consistent problem because that's true in like modern cloning.
Yeah.
Like when you make a clone of something, it usually
there's
doesn't
variation.
do well. Yeah.
So,
as
but
far as I
it does
know.
make sense. So, yeah, then you find out like the 3-year contract is because they have a 3-year lifespan.
Yeah,
and
okay.
all this stuff. Kind of an ending, but
Let's
pretty
go to the
good
next
movie.
one.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh,
I mean,
what's
I do want
potatoes?
to touch on. I do want to touch on real quick the controversy over. I do genuinely believe that there might be something to this. They might be robots thing.
Oh, I guess.
Okay.
It just makes it. It's hard.
Oh, they might be dancers.
It's hard to program an exact 3-year calendar of death into a living organism. Right?
just
I got to
assume-
imagine, right?
Yeah.
We could.
Are you
assume-
suspending disbelief to be able to say, like, yeah, they could probably clone him to die after 3 years, or is it easier to make them as
I
human
don't think
as
it
possible?
was. I don't think is they were programmed to die. I think is like they made a clone and realized, oh, these things only last 3 years.
Yeah, that could have been it.
And then they're like,
wouldn't
okay, let's
the more clones you make, the less time they get.
Yeah,
No.
because the DNA would slowly start to
It's
degrade
the
over
chromosomes
time.
are starting to get shorter and shorter, unless he's giving them a fresh supply
Well,
every
again,
single
we're
time.
assuming.
That's just.
I
another
imagine they
suspended
got like
disbelief.
tons of from the first OG
Yeah.
Sam.
And that's actually kind
I
of.
don't know.
a
This could be
revelation.
an arbitrary thing, like whether or not it was.
It's not
3 years
super important, but I just feel like it's worth thinking about.
Yeah,
And it is something kind of like a revelation that you figure out is that Fit Boy is actually number 6.
Yeah.
He's not.
Well, again, we're not sure that Fit Boy's number 6.
No,
Fit
they do.
Boy-
They said clone number 6.
No, we only know that clone number 6 testified.
Right.
Oh.
It could
Fit
be
Boy
that the
could've-
blank boy woke
Yeah.
up, tried to call his wife, realized that she's dead, and it's
And, like,
his teenage
called
daughter.
straight-
So we don't.
Went,
so,
Gertie, what the hell's going on? Gertie went, oh, you caught me. You're a
Yeah,
clone.
clone.
And then he was like, well, I've got live communication. I'm just going to let him know.
Yeah,
We
he could have
really
gone
don't-
straight to CNN. For all
That's
Literally,
we know.
true.
that thing could have crashed and just killed
Yeah,
him.
because I feel like if Fit Boy survived, Fit Boy's like, I don't want any part of this. I want to
Yeah.
find a hooker,
That's
some alcohol, and like let my last 3 years in this world. Like,
That's true. So it is kind of
be
ambiguous
fun.
to where it's
It
like
is.
you don't know if it was Fit Boy or
All
not.
that we know for
Yeah.
sure is one of the clones testified.
and we know that it was
For,
clone number
for
6.
all we know, they tried to cover this up and killed Blank Boy, and they woke another clone up, and that clone
And that
was
clone
the one.
figured it out,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that clone was like, "What the f?"
We really don't have
Yeah.
all the answers, but we just know that a clone
We know at
did
some point the
something.
news breaks.
It is
Yeah.
implied that the clone that lands does it.
Yeah,
to
'cause
an
I just felt
extent,
like
but-
even if
but it is ambiguous
even if
enough
the
to where
company
another clone could have done it.
got found out, I feel like they would have killed Blank Boy at least.
they probably would have destroyed that.
Yeah,
place.
so like
Yeah.
the
No, they'd
thought
have
that
missiled
Blank
the
Boy
shit out of
somehow
it.
got away makes me think that there must.
But also, like,
there's a lot of ways. this
imagine
could've gone.
if like you find out that all the largest oil tycoons are using slave labor.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, we just blew up all of our factories.
Yeah,
so
that'd
that
be crazy. That wouldn't help you out either. Yeah.
No, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, great movie.
I liked it.
Really
I,
good.
I
Yeah.
gave it a potato.
Yeah, I thought
I
it was
gave it
pretty
a full
cool.
potato.
I give it a
nice,
potato.
It was nice
yeah.
not to have like he's a clone. That wasn't the twist.
Yeah, the
you
twist
know?
wasn't it was a clone.
like that was just like kind of like it was revealed through the story. The real twist
it was the teaser.
was the like
It
fit
was more.
boy
It was more
going-
like that. There's no twist. It was more the struggle to
Yeah.
to get over it and then
Yeah.
like deal with it.
Yeah.
It's like finding out that he was a clone
'Cause
was
that's
a
like-
teaser, and
that's
then
a
finding
real
out that
fucking-
there's
it was also
numerous.
it was also
clones.
a really cool mix of man versus self and man
Yeah.
versus man because
Yeah. Well,
like
like-
he's grappling with the concept of dealing with this younger different version of himself, but also
But
they're
it's him.
similar.
This movie
Yeah.
isn't as lonely as The Martian, but I thought it
Yeah.
had a lot of.
It had a lot of Martian, but
It's-
this came out
it's-
way before the Martian.
It's
Yeah,
weird
no, I
because
know.
it is as lonely, but it's a different kind of loneliness.
Well, yeah,
it's the loneliness
this
you
being-
feel when you
being a
realize that
clone
he's
in
not the one.
Space is such a no-win scenario.
Yeah, there's really no.
And I
version
originally
of it.
thought the reason why he was hallucinating because he was getting cabin fever.
Yeah.
Which is why my thing
Yeah.
was like, why is he just now getting cabin fever?
No,
He's
this
been
is
here for 3
brain.
years.
Is his brain
But it's
deteriorating?
because he's deteriorating.
Yeah.
So. Great movie, great.
Yep.
Cool. Let's go
okay, and
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
void now.
Eddie's picked the
All
void.
right.
The void.
H.P. Lovecraft's The Void.
It's not H.P. Lovecraft's The
Well, it's
Void.
based.
It's not based on anything H.P. Lovecraft. It's just like
It's not-
inspired by.
I got
it
hella
was for sure
Cthulhu vibes.
inspired by. I felt like the
There are
ending,
no books that are like called.
Well,
The
no,
Void
it's
or
not like a
anything
direct
about it.
I felt
adaptation,
like,
but
no,
it is
yeah.
the
inspired.
ending was an interpretation of the Gate to R'lyeh.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
I've
'cause-
never read
Because
Gate to
the
R'lyeh.
monument that they see, the pyramid.
it's called R'lyeh, but whatever.
Well, I thought it was definitely like this is like like a very loose
actually-
adaptation of Cthulhu.
It's that.
I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
it was. I felt
I
very
definitely got
strong
that vibe.
Lovecraft
Well,
vibes.
yeah, no, it definitely had Lovecraft vibes. It's just like so. In the 80s, because it's hard to explain, because like horror movies do this weird thing where they copy Lovecraft, but they'll do a cheap knockoff.
It is cheap.
So this is kind of what
not
I
that
mean
cheap.
by that.
I
It's
don't
like-
mean the money wise. I mean
Oh,
that the knockoff
yeah,
version
like
of the
this
story isn't. Yeah.
you had tentacles, but at no point did you see any fish stuff, as you can tell.
Yes.
Like this-
Well,
that
I
fish
was
stuff.
I was gonna get into
No, I'm
why
talking about
they
the
were.
Void, but
yeah,
yeah,
I am
yeah.
talking about the void.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna get into why I feel like it was Lovecraft, but it missed the mark.
I actually
let's
thought
talk about
about
it.
it.
What's the
It's
movie?
What is it
called.
about?
It's called. I would say it's Corpse Craft, not Lovecraft, but yeah.
Well, what's the story?
It's a horror movie. There's a term for it. It's called 12 Little Indians, I believe. It's when you have like a group of people who are pretty much getting picked off. One by
Excuse me,
one.
could you say Native Americans?
So it's kind of like Annihilation again, because they had that 12 Indians. thing,
Yeah,
too.
sort of. And
It was just garbage.
It has this sheriff who so we open up and there's this man, at least two men. We don't really know much about them right off the beginning. But
One
we
of them
see-
has a chest tattoo that says Miami Man.
yeah. And he
The other
eats
one's missing an
people,
arm
and
and
he has
leg.
an awesome Cuban accent.
It's the worst Cuban accent.
No, these two men are lighting somebody on fire, and they light this girl on fire
chick.
after
It's
I
just,
believe
You know how
shooting
most
her.
movies start.
I believe shooting her in the back with a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
They shoot
Yeah.
her first, and then she's still alive, and then they burn her.
Yeah, and then they burn her. We don't know why they did that. We just see that. That's the opening.
And
But one
triangle
guy,
imagery.
That's the cold open.
but one guy gets away, and then he's found on the side
He's
of the
like,
road
"Ah,
by a
help."
sheriff. And the sheriff's like, "All right, I'm gonna take you to a hospital," and he takes him to a hospital.
Which was like the hospital thing was weird because they were kind of implying that like the other one burned down, like this is the old
No,
one.
that's
or
No,
something.
the one
the
that
hospital
burned
they're
down.
at is the one that burned down,
Yeah.
and they were moving.
They were
Oh, right.
closing down that one because it burned down.
and that's why they were down to like 4 people in the
yeah,
whole hospital.
and that's why he was pissed that he had to go to that one opposed to going to the
Well, it's
other
not that
one.
he didn't. It's
And it's
he
also
could
his
have went
wife
to the
works
other
there.
one. He could
Was
have
it his
went to
wife
the-
or his ex-wife?
That's his wife. They
Wife.
have not gotten divorced yet, but she had a.
They're not going to. They're in a rough patch because they lost a child.
I think she asked them to sign the papers.
I'm pretty sure that they were getting divorced.
She asked them to sign the papers. I think.
But then obviously they find their love for each other.
Well, that does not happen. But
a version of that happens.
But he could have went to the other hospital. But the other hospital was far.
Yeah,
it was too far.
So he takes this crackhead to the.
So he's a lazy cop boy.
And there
he's a plot-driven lazy boy.
he rushes him in and he sees like this.
It's a plot hospital.
There's this pregnant girl and her
creepy,
grandfather.
Yeah.
Her grandfather who's got her there and trying to like help her.
Yeah.
We see his ex or wife.
His current wife,
future ex.
Yeah, something like that. Who's there as a nurse. We see Knives Chow as a young...
Is that the same actress?
That's Knives Chow, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we see Knives Chow
from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, I didn't know that was the same actress.
That's
funny.
The edgy nurse.
The intern who doesn't know how to do anything.
The Hot Topic nurse, yeah.
Yeah. As the intern who doesn't know how to do anything. And then
it's
we
great
have
to know of your medical professionals.
Old white doctor man.
Yeah, because
I can't remember what his name was, but
like Robert something.
He's really important to the
story.
He's actually
old
one of the
man
main
white
characters.
Guy name,
old man white guy.
He seems like a side character, ends up being the main.
But real quick, just at that opening, we get like the fact that the police officer has like this whole strange relationship with his wife, that he's lost his kid, and the doctor also drops the fact that he also knows what it's like.
So he connects with
he
him.
lost
he
his
lost
kid.
his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get that exposition out of the way because it sets up stuff that'll be important.
I
later
actually
on.
felt like that exposition was pretty clean.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like
it was
like.
really well.
I mean, it was pretty like
it wasn't
realistic.
like text over the screen or like
Or it wasn't
voiceover.
like-
it wasn't like I've been like
exposition,
this
like-
since my daughter died. Like it
Yeah.
was literally just.
It was like,
Like,
look,
yeah, I get
I
what
know
you're
you guys are in a
feeling.
tough patch
Yeah.
because of this. I know
Yeah.
the feeling because
Yeah.
I went. It was good
I
exposition.
felt like it was clean exposition. Yeah.
Okay, and then it keeps going, and I believe the father and son walk in at that point, right?
No.
Before,
No,
Not
that
yet.
doesn't happen until the cult shows up.
Oh, that's right. The sheriff walks down the hall, and one of the other nurses that I didn't mention, Beverly, she is in a room with a patient. We saw
Who
the
was
patient.
with,
The guy he
with-
picked up on the
who-
street.
who was
no,
with
it
Asian
wasn't the
intern.
guy. It wasn't the guy
Oh.
who picked. There was another guy who was already in the hospital.
No, it was the guy that was with the Asian intern because she left.
Yeah,
him.
I didn't mention him though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. There was a patient already there. For some reason, he's like the only patient who's there.
Yeah, well, everyone's at the new hospital.
Yeah, but for some reason, this dude, this pregnant girl, and
Came to the old hospital.
yeah, all are for
All
some.
the
they're
he
supposed to be
specifically
moving
says
out.
like I don't want to drive all the way to the city to handle this. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a birth.
Yeah.
Which is for some reason a real simple thing
Yeah,
to
which
this
is
old white
weird.
man.
Yeah.
But I mean, then again, there are nurses. And there's a nurse and a
point
doctor
is,
that could
there's
do
like
it.
4 people here.
Yeah.
And
Your group.
One of them is a patient, and so he walks in for some reason into this patient's room. I think because he hears something.
Yeah, he hears something.
And we see one of the nurses just killing
Gouging
this
his
patient.
eyes
Oh, with
out.
scissors.
Yeah,
that's
with
right.
scissors, just jamming this scissors into the guy's eye, and then she turns around and you see that her face is all like been like torn off by
Yeah,
herself.
because she's like cutting pieces of her skin
Yeah.
off.
And
And
she-
like I made a note that said, "We're going there."
we're going.
All right.
And she goes
Let's
to she goes to stab him to death, and he like guns her
Bam.
down. Right?
He shoots her right in the head.
Yeah, he shoots her in the head. They walk in, they're like, "What the fuck?"
Right, because I mean, this
Yeah.
lazy cop boy just comes in, brings this drugged out dude who's
That
talking about
everybody
whatever,
knows.
and everyone knows he's going through shit. And
Yeah.
then he just walks in and like shoots a nurse in the head.
And then everybody's
Yeah.
like, "What's happening?"
So
And they go in, they
older-
see everything.
Older racist cop shows up.
Oh,
after
of
that.
course, yes.
No, he's the
he's a marshal.
Marshall.
He's the
that's
marshal.
Right. He's not a racist. I'm just being.
He
a dick.
showed up
No, but
before
like
that.
he's an older.
Oh, he was there already.
He was there already.
Well, he
and
was on the way
Yeah, he was on the way.
because they kind of have the reputation of this like cop boy
Yeah.
as like a guy who's like not doing fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when he calls in, like I got a guy to take to the hospital.
I just remember the marshal showing up, and then I was like, "Why this show up?" Because
I thought I
He
was
kind
right
of
into
alluded
being
it was
kind
going
of
to
a
be shady
douchebag.
because even he says like, "How'd you get her so fast?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, is this guy in on something?"
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
he's not.
But then he's not.
yeah,
exactly.
it was kind of a misdirect that wasn't necessary. He
But
could have
but
just
the
been,
marshal
you know,
shows
random
up.
marshal
He's
boy.
like, he's right off the bat. He's like, "What the going on?"
Which
But he
was
sees
actually
the
really-
bodies, and he's like,
Yeah.
"All right, something like was weird about
Yeah.
that." But before anything else happens,
But he
all
takes
of a
his
sudden,
gun.
those bodies. Yeah,
Yeah.
he does take his gun.
Which actually
All of
it
a
makes
sudden,
sense, but yeah.
Those bodies start. Do the bodies start tripping out first, or wait?
No, after.
After. You're right.
But it's really cool though because after he sees that and shoots her down, he immediately like goes to the bow and is like, "I need a minute."
Yeah.
And he's like freaking out, which I thought
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
This is when the movie starts getting good.
Yeah, it takes a
As
while
at
to
this
get
point.
to this point, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It takes like
Yeah.
a good 30 minutes to get here.
And then somehow the crackhead gets free for like a second, and he grabs a.
Well, 'cause they didn't tie him down.
Scalpel. Well, he had.
No,
had
that
cuffs
doesn't
on.
happen. That
no,
doesn't
he's
happen
cuffed
yet.
to
It
the
doesn't happen
bed.
yet?
It
He's
doesn't
cuffed
happen
to
yet.
the bed
Why am I
immediately.
confused by
So
this?
so they're all like arguing, and because they're like, oh my god, like the we got attacked, or I had to shoot the nurse.
Well, even before this, I think what you're gonna say. This is before because they're arguing, and then it cuts to the nurse lying on the ground,
dead. And then
but then
the
it's
legs start coming out of her.
That was
she does
scary.
transform. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Right,
that was freaking
but
scary.
He doesn't get the scalpel yet because they hear him yelling eventually after they're all arguing about
because
how
he
he's
was
a bad
next
cop
to
boy.
the body. That's why he was yelling. And when they go to free him, and then they also take care of the body for the first time.
Yeah,
you see a monster.
She's like a
So they gun it down, but that doesn't actually solve it. It goes down, but then it's going to come back up.
It comes back all mutated and Cronenberg-y.
That crackhead. That's when the crackhead grabs the scalpel.
Well, first he's
goes
struggling
over
because it's trying to reach over the bed to get
and
it.
he goes
and
and
the guy
the rail
breaks
off.
off the rail, so he gets off, and that's when he
loose.
grabs the scalpel, and that's when he takes the
Which
girl
I had
hostage.
to nitpick because I'm like, dude, the marshal's just standing there. Why don't you just grab his keys and unlock it? But then I'm also thinking,
it's
kind
probably
of heat of the moment.
I mean, it's kind of a plot panic attack.
With Cthulhu monsters.
Oh, is it
Wait,
Cthulhu?
I thought you said it wasn't.
I thought you said it wasn't.
Oh, it's not Cthulhu, but it's Cthulhu-like.
This guy.
Hypocrite.
In your arrogance.
In your arrogance, you've confused Lovecraft with Cronenberg.
The same thing, pretty much.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
they kind of shoot it, and they think it's dead.
Oh yeah. He
No,
grabs
they
the
shoot it, but
scalpel.
it keeps moving, and
well,
so
no,
they just
he
close the
grabs
door.
Oh, that's right. They
There's
just
this
close
little
the door.
section in that moment where he grabs the scalpel, he grabs the pregnant girl, and then he kills Dr.
I'm calling him Dr. Loomis.
White. Dr.
'Cause
White.
He looks
What?
Dr.
He
Loomis.
doesn't look like Dr. Loomis
Kinda
at all.
does.
No, he doesn't.
Just a little bit.
It doesn't matter. He
kills the doctor.
Basically, he's holding her hostage. This is when the
pregnant
father
girl.
and son come in.
Yeah.
Because
that's right.
they're just randomly showing up. The guy went to the police car to try to get help, saw all the cult people in white robes with triangles
see
on
in
their
the beginning.
faces.
Okay, then the
Yeah. See
Marshal's
them in the
dead by
beginning.
now then.
No.
No,
I'm pretty sure the
they're not
marshal
going to get the
dies around
shotgun.
now.
The cop was going out because the phones and radio weren't
that's
working
right,
inside.
that's
He was going to radio
So he
for
went
help.
out to go to the cop
Yeah.
car,
But
and
that's when he sees
all the hooded figures.
The hooded figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then
The marshal doesn't die until the monster gets out.
Yeah.
Oh, this will be important too. All the hooded figures have a black triangle.
Big black triangle
Yeah.
in the face.
That's
Yeah.
a
Black
important later.
triangle is a big symbol throughout this film.
Yep.
Yes. He sees all them while he's trying to get the radio. He's like, "What the f?" He goes inside. That's when our sick boy. I'm sorry. That's
sick boy.
our meth
Meth man.
boy.
Meth
Our
boy.
meth boy is gonna take a pregnant girl hostage.
And then he stabs old doctor in the throat.
father-
I'm just trying to get to that point
Right.
because that's really the beat that matters.
Yeah, father and son guys from the beginning
Show
of the
up.
movie show up with
Yeah.
a shotgun.
They say, "Give me meth boy."
Yeah, they're
Give
like,
me meth
we
boy."
want this meth boy, and he's
they're
like, you
like-
won't have me because I've got this hostage.
Yeah.
And then the doctor tries to whoa,
And he shanks the doctor in the neck.
And he just like stabs him in the neck with a scalpel.
I'm,
Bam, we're there.
That's just important.
Yeah.
And then
That's
down.
very important.
and then we get to so the doctor's
Oh,
dead.
also at this point, Lazy Cop Boy has been stabbed.
Yeah, Lazy Cop Boy has
like
been
the shoulder.
wounded.
Yeah, and they like stitch him up. He has a vision,
Yeah, and then Tentacle Monster comes out again after all that.
and that's when he gets the marshal.
Yeah, and that's when he gets the marshal. They all because cop, marshal, and everybody tries to work together to see what the going on
Yeah.
at that moment. It's not really working together. They all just hear a noise and run.
And
to
they-
Oh yeah, and
they're
then you
all
just see
just,
the
like,
tentacles of
gonna
the
be the
monster
hero,
grab the
yeah.
marshal, and
and
leave.
he grabs the marshal first,
And it starts to like
Marshal
get
just
into his
keeps
brain and like absorb
just
it
gets
It's like
into the
very.
face.
It's
Yeah.
extremely
It's
graphic.
like
Well,
one
and
part.
it's like the practical effects make it that much
Yeah,
more.
it's straight up
It's like
nightmare
one
fuel.
part zombie meets a Lovecraftian monster meets the Thing, because it
Yeah.
does this thing where if it
It's like
touches
morphing
you,
into
like
you,
if
yeah.
as soon as it touches you, you're we notice that.
Yeah,
because certain
pretty much.
people are like pretty much like burn me if I'm being like touched by these tentacles because you're like gonna get infected and turn.
You're
Right.
imprinted on them.
Yeah. It's not like it's really infected. It's almost like how in Evil Dead you'll just get possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, so that starts happening and everybody's like, what the is going on?
Right.
Marshall dies,
And Marshall's dead.
and they cut his head. They cut his head off.
Yeah, they
Yes.
cut his head off
the
to make
father
sure
and
he
son
doesn't
come cut his head off
and they burn the bodies too to make sure that they won't.
Yeah, they burn him on the gurney and then throw him out into the.
And
as
then-
a distraction.
all the
then-
cult people are there.
And then the son and father are just like trying to order everybody around. Well, it's mostly
Yeah.
father. Father's a
It's kind of. The son doesn't
dickbag.
order anyone because he can't talk.
father's a straight cuck. Let's just be honest.
He's
He
a
kind of
dickbag.
comes in hot, considering he has no reason to for people to be listening to him.
He's just mad Trump.
Well, you gotta admit too,
Trump
he's
did
very
not
like
see this zombie world ending
it's
apocalypse.
It's
happening.
weird because like yes, he is a dickbag, but you kind of give him some credit because
he
he's
does
been dealing
mention-
with this already.
He does mention you want to go through this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
to the
they've already
kid.
been dealing with it,
Yeah,
but like for
right.
you to come to a random
But
group
like,
of people
right? You
and
can't
start
expect
acting like
them to just be like, "Oh, well, clearly you're in charge." Like that's
and
not.
you can't just treat them all like they're straight members
Well,
of the
they were
cult.
gonna kill them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were just gonna
Yeah.
ice them like they were all infected already, which is like I understand in certain like monster movie logic, there's the circumstance where that makes sense, like zombie infection makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's like we don't know that any of these people are like a danger at all.
Yeah, as far as he knows,
they're just like the potential. Yeah, if
And not
something
even the
happens.
audience member has been given enough info to think.
Like
Yeah.
what we can give the father, I guess, in the father's defense is like we don't really see what it is that causes someone to all of a sudden be because like that nurse just all of a sudden started
right without
savaging.
any
Out of nowhere.
context.
Yeah,
she's
there was
just
no
like that.
context
Yeah.
to say that. Oh, all of a sudden
was-
she
it was a
died
little-
and came
later,
back.
why-
Yeah.
Later on
before
we find out, but this is before we have that realization. So we go on. They're trying to figure out what they should do now. Like they want to go to the cop car to get a shotgun, and they try, but it ends up being this weird like realization that reality is warping around them.
because the
Yeah.
cop car is
And there's
farther
this
away.
There's this like horn blasting.
Yeah.
That's like
That's-
signaling the apocalypse and all the.
So at
guys
first,
come.
like I had a nitpick about that because the first time the horns sound, it's mixed with the music. So when the music hits and he reacts, I may know like, did you really react to the music score? Like,
he
what was that?
reacted-
Whoa,
You're right,
the
but
then they
characters
said-
are
and then they
breaking
say
the
later,
fourth
like-
wall.
And then they say later, like, oh yeah, when you hear those horns, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what horns?
The horn-
And
you
then
hear
you
those
hear them
horns
again.
earlier?
I didn't know they were horns. I thought that was the
Oh,
music.
okay.
Yeah.
No,
Because I was like,
that
why do you
the
react to the
horns.
music? Like, what was it? And then you find out they're horns.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the horns
That attract the cult
signaling
members.
The cult members, yeah. And
So,
which are
yeah.
freaking scary on their own.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
just
we
in those
see
robes,
those
yeah.
the cult
Well, anyone in a
members
white
They all
robe
move
doesn't
in
make me
unison.
feel good.
That was scary
Yeah,
too.
and there are these creepy dudes in white Klan's robes with
Triangles.
black triangles on their
Oh.
faces. They all have like hunting knives and shit.
Yeah.
They're pretty. They're just
They're all
big-
in unison.
They're,
They're all
yeah,
in
they're,
sync.
they're big in number, but like we don't really.
Almost like there's some kind of cult for some kind of Lovecraftian monster.
They have no personalities except for their leader. Who later on we find out who the leader is.
Yeah.
As we're getting into this part, where are we now?
Well, this is when they go into his office, isn't it?
This is before then.
Oh yeah, because they need supplies. Because
Yeah.
guess what, pregnant girl,
Baby's coming.
Gonna have
Baby's
a baby.
And so they go to get supplies. Or well, they send
Plot
them,
baby
they
is
send,
coming.
They send his wife to get the supplies first.
No,
because
he
they-
didn't send her. He said, "Wait for me."
And then she's
And
like,
she
Yeah, and they went to the.
you, I'm gonna divorce
Yeah,
you.
well, that's the thing too. Like, normally that would be a nitpick where it's like,
Well,
oh,
the
like he told
baby's
you to wait.
coming, though.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's like, well, like you're obviously
She-
an independent woman. Go
She's
do
a doctor.
it. Like,
she has a
Yeah,
patient
she's a nurse.
or sorry, whatever.
yeah, like, you
She's
don't
a
need
nurse.
to wait for
Being
it.
a nurse is
you really
important,
like
okay.
Being a nurse is important. I tried to give her the credit of a doctor, and you just.
Well,
on
it's
me.
not a thing where you need to give the doctor. It's the doctor doesn't outdo
She's
the nurse.
assuming the doctor position as Dr. Whiteman is dead.
She's a medical.
Dr. Loomis is already
he is a
gone.
medical professional.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
like,
the-
but it
the
is too
doctor's
where it's
gone.
like, you know, she's saying like, I can go get it. It's right there. I can
But the
grab
point
it.
is, she goes and gets it, and she disappears,
But
and
she
we don't
doesn't
know
get it
how.
because she gets got.
She gets got.
She gets it and then
exactly.
gets got.
Yes.
because she bags it.
And this is when we first realize there's something not totally right
Like
about.
the calls coming from inside the
Yeah,
house.
like there's
Well,
something.
well, also that because she's getting in, they pan over her shoulder and you see.
Yeah, you
Dr.
see him.
Dr.
Dead
Loomis
Dr.
behind
White
her.
Boy.
Yeah, we see the
Dr. Boy's
doctor.
behind her.
I
Dr.
expected
Boy.
him to be some sort of crazy monster.
Yeah.
Well, eventually he becomes.
Well, I know, but I didn't expect him to be like sentient. I thought he was going to be like the
oh
nurse
no, he's
who-
the cult leader though. That's why.
Right, we find that
Well,
out.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's what we're getting to.
So yes, she goes missing. They go looking for supplies and her, and they end up in his office, and they find pictures
Yeah, they
of
find
the cult stuff,
evidence.
Yeah.
that-
which I keep in my work office.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a
was hidden.
notebook with like
Well, you also
drawings.
have to-
Why would you keep that in your
that's
office?
no, that's the thing. Like, I don't think because we
It's
start
also
noticing that
well,
reality
it's also
is bending.
this specific hospital is where he performs some of his rituals.
But not only
why
that,
keep
why
the
he burns-
pictures
well,
there?
because reality
Because
is
and
no
it's
one
going to be
else is here.
closed soon.
well, it's also because
No one else is there, that's
reality
why.
is starting to bend too. So
Yeah,
we
you
probably
could
had
argue
that
that.
there,
You could
so
argue
that they
that,
could
yeah,
find
maybe.
it.
it just seems a bit.
Point
plot-
is, you start finding breadcrumbs that something isn't
Yeah.
right here, and then we
And obviously, Dr.
and
Dr.
then
Boy
they
is
come back
not right.
and
yeah.
they realize that his wife is missing now.
Well, because he calls him.
Yeah.
he calls him in his office, and he's like, "Yo, I'm at the morgue," because it says morgue on the little
Yeah.
where it calls him from. And he's like, "Oh, do you want your wife?"
Yeah, because then he gets to where he's like, I lost my daughter and I
Yeah.
want her back.
Yeah.
And it got me focused on like, I don't want to ever die.
and we start
Yeah.
getting, we start getting
some
exposition
more,
that there's
like,
some
yeah,
interesting going on here.
Like
Evil-
he's
evil-
kind of behind the
the
garbage.
villain is
Yeah.
telling his plan.
and then we go.
You got me monologuing, you sly dog.
And then they go to find, like, this is the quest point where they head off to the main
we're in the hero's
battle.
journey.
Yep.
So they get
Had our trials.
they
and
have
we're ready.
knives child to stay with the pregnant girl and the grandpa.
Well, technically, they even
gave-
had trials, so
they
they're very
gave him-
unprepared.
They gave him a
which
gun.
They
They
are.
gave him a gun and a knife to like
That's not a
protect
knife.
themselves.
That's not a knife.
And then she has a radio and then the map so that she can
guide them.
Guide them, yeah. And
I'm
so
the
it's Sheriff, the meth head,
Sheriff boy, meth guy, dad and son.
dad
who
and
can't
son,
talk.
dad and son, yeah, and son who can't talk.
Crazy boy and
Yes.
silent boy.
And so they
Quiet boy, yeah.
they start going downward towards where they assume is going to be like this door to the morgue.
Yeah, because they say
hospital.
she says go down
But
the stairs and then it's right there.
It just keeps going down and
Yeah.
down,
And then-
corridor after.
They're
And
living
he
in a
says,
land down under.
Is there another staircase? And then the Kim goes,
Yeah.
"There's only one staircase."
They're like pretty
Reality
much.
is being
We're in the
bent.
Pretty much, they're like,
sub-basement.
they're in a basement that does not exist.
It's
Whoa.
reality is bending.
And then
the basement's refracted.
They start getting.
Oh, reality is
They-
refracting.
Shut the f up! I'm like, damn.
Whoa, we're spiritually in a new basement. Whoa.
This is and at this point, the meth head realizes that the basement that they're in. Was
Oh
the
yeah, and waits
basement-
till then to reveal
Well, it
like,
was
oh,
at
also
that-
we were in a cult.
Well, at
No,
that point,
yeah.
they get to the main basement.
Yeah.
That he only
he
remembers
says he was
being
in.
at that house. That house at
Because
the
at this
very
point, he has
beginning.
no- he has no
that's
point to
right.
say
That's
that.
right. The basement from the house that they burned down is now at the hospital because reality
He's like, wait,
is
I remember
bending.
being here.
So this basement seems
Yeah.
to exist outside of what we would call regular reality.
Yeah,
and you find out
that's
they
kind
were-
of
they
what
were-
Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Kinda.
not necessarily. there are other ones too, other than that.
very
But
Yeah, at
Stephen
least
King.
what cosmic
Stephen King,
horror.
yeah, it's cosmic horror.
But you find out that they were given drugs and then also
Yeah, they
forced
would-
to have sex with each
Well,
other.
not forced. They were given.
Poor meth
No, he
heads
says
having
they
to
told us
bone.
to have sex with each
Yeah,
other.
that doesn't mean forced though. That's just an orgy.
Well, if you
Oh,
had a
that's
bunch
just
of-
so easy for
Yeah,
you.
I
it's
don't know.
so
It just-
easy to.
it just-
It's just drones over the wall.
It sounds like a bunch of. It sounds just like a bunch of like a weird sex party. With a
No,
bunch of
no,
drug
it wasn't a
addicts.
party because he said they told
were-
us
they were
to, and
killing
it was the
people
cult
too,
members.
yeah.
Oh
It was
yeah,
the
I
cult
get
members.
that it was a big cult thing, but I think it was probably more like let's all drink this Kool-Aid, and then they all started doing some weird shit, not necessarily like abducted
Are
people.
you a cult sympathizer?
No, I'm just saying that's what I imagined it as when he was describing it.
Tom Jones did nothing wrong. Anyway,
But yeah, they realize that they're in this weird other dimension now or something, and they all sort of like split off for some reason.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we're in another dimension.
each one
Let's
of
all
them-
break up,
Each
gang.
one of them gets pulled away.
Like
by
Zoinks.
yeah, they
Scoob.
get pulled away. They're not.
I know, but
they get
they
forced
made,
break.
they
The
didn't
father-
make that strong
the
of an
father
effort
gets-
to stay together.
The father gets pulled
They were like,
away.
I'm in a new room.
Well,
Guess I
yeah.
better deal with this.
The
Well, yeah,
father
that's
gets
the reality
pulled away
bends where
by
they can't
the-
get to each other.
The father gets pulled away by
Okay.
the spirit of his wife or whatever that was, whether that was like an illusion or something. And the son follows him. The meth head gets attacked by monsters and torn to pieces.
Oh,
at
that
some
were
point, but I don't
effing.
think
That was
later on.
scary.
Oh yeah, it was
That
like
was
crawling
so-
backwards,
Yeah,
being weird. Yeah.
I was
And
like,
those-
there was nightmare fuel when you see one of them just going like this to the pipe.
oh yeah,
over.
and the pipe's going through its head.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he turns around. And it's just a
And it's just
hole.
not killing it.
It's
It's just
there's
no way to die.
The practical effects are horrifying. I'll give
yeah,
them that.
Such good practical
and
effects.
then the sheriff goes off and he finds his wife, and it is not a pretty sight.
Well, before that, we see the wife on the hospital bed with the doctor. And
Yeah,
that's when he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and he's explaining to her like, "You're gonna give birth to like my daughter again because she's
Yeah.
so
or
great."
something.
Or-
He said you're gonna give birth to something, not my
Yeah.
daughter though.
Yeah,
No,
hasn't
he
said
does
that
say
yet.
like, I'm trying to bring my daughter back.
Yeah, but she's not the one bringing the daughter.
Yeah,
She's
and
just
her
bringing
tummy's like
something weird.
moving because it's got
Yeah,
like a new thing.
That's
in
like
it.
CGI.
Yeah.
That's the
Bunch
first
of-
CGI.
Yeah,
you
she's
see.
got a
It's
bunch
just-
of tentacles in her stomach now for some
Yeah.
reason, and he gets into
he's Cthulhu.
he finds her in that room, and her stomach is all like. Her like innards are all out, and they're like she's like a
Well,
weird.
no.
over the
When
place.
he goes in,
He sees her.
it's like a vision of like her and her like most
yeah,
beautiful.
she's beautiful, but then he really
But
she's
then like
pregnant.
it breaks as he's getting like the voices in his head of
Yeah.
explaining like, oh, she's gonna, and he's got to basically decide like, am I gonna let this happen or am I
this
gonna have
is where-
to
this
murk
is-
my wife?
This is where you also get like even more great exposition, but also kind of a revelation about Cop Boy is that he says, obviously you get back to where, because his memory is her being pregnant.
Yeah.
But then also that you find out he was relieved that they lost the baby.
Yeah,
Because he tells
'cause
him
he
that,
wasn't ready to be
you
a
were
father.
relieved.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
when you found out you lost it, and so it's like
and
it's
that's
playing
just
on his
a question
guilt.
about his guilt and stuff.
He's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah, low key.
Like as a character, not like as an actor.
And
I'm
then
sure
he
he's
and then
fine.
he
Yeah.
like he murks his wife with an axe.
yes,
which you see the silhouette through
yeah,
the door.
it's kind of like
And then
way to
he's-
make the tough choice.
And then he goes
she's
off.
clearly suffering. You.
and then it cuts to where he's in another room.
Yay, we're there.
Because reality's bending.
Well,
So jump cuts are okay.
Not just then. They go back. We go back to the father and son and their whole scene, and the father and son have a whole fight, and then the father gets attacked by something, and then he sacrifices himself and lights himself on fire.
That's happening at the same time as the.
This
the
is
monologue.
after that. This is
Oh,
that's
is
after
it?
that.
Never mind.
Well,
then.
it can't be because that's the thing that's born.
Because it
No.
That's
Oh,
eating
yeah,
his-
you're right,
zooms
you're right,
out
you're
of him
right.
chopping his
They
wife's
get it-
head
no,
off,
never
and
mind.
then it cuts to where he's in the room now because reality's bending.
He goes away from his wife. He doesn't actually end up doing anything with her. They don't. She
Well, we
doesn't
don't
like
know.
separate.
Yeah.
No, not his wife. I mean the father and the son.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't gone to them yet.
That's what I was trying to
That's happening at the
explain.
same time.
It's
as the-
happening. Yeah, it's happening at the same time.
but you don't
roughly.
see it until after.
Yeah.
after
We get to that. They get in a fight because of the vision that he's having. He's like attacking him for some unknown reason.
It was all kind of muddled. Like my least favorite story is honestly the father and the son. Like
Well,
I
the
can tell-
the
they really
visions
didn't
that they're-
serve any purpose in that.
Yeah.
They could've
I looked
also
at
just
I looked
been
at
fighting
I
monsters.
looked it up like this channel that does where they analyze like the endings of
Foundflix?
films. No, yeah, Foundflix. And then he was saying what he was saying was that the visions they're having are playing on their guilt of something. So the father and son, the father and son, like their guilt is like the father obviously like the mother died, so he has that guilt, and the son has the guilt of he didn't protect his mother or something like that.
Gotcha.
So that's why in his vision the dad goes crazy.
I feel like if you have to have that explained, they didn't do a good enough job.
Yeah.
You have the fact that you have to look it up to have that explained.
But all right, so we
But
get
regardless, let's jump to the main room.
the main room. We finally get
There's some cult boys. There's a
some
big
cult
triangle,
boys, there's a
and then
big
we
triangle.
find Doctor
Cthulhu.
Doctor Doom.
the doctor who's like all gross, and we realize
Now he's like inside out.
well,
and,
he
like,
cut
his
off
skin is
he
cut
cut
off.
off his skin, and like instead of having muscle, he's got like an exoskeleton. Under
yeah, it's kind of freaky looking, but
And-
cool looking practical effects.
And it's kind of a shout out to Pinhead, the way he like stands and moves his body. I think like the fact that he's kind of leathery.
A lot of nods in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of Pinhead-esque stuff. Like the dimension he seems to be opening kind of reminds me of the Hellraiser dimension. But
it really doesn't remind you of any other.
no, I get what you mean. It's very Lovecraftian. I just feel like it has other stuff too. I thought it was just cheap and easy to just be like, oh, it's all Lovecraft.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
that is-
it's like a
literal-
very
Cool,
loose.
because at no point is there anything like Yog-Sothoth or like Cthulhu or anything.
You don't
We
need
just
that.
He's
the
chanting
void.
random noises the whole time.
I need to
Yeah.
hear the specific random noise.
Oh my god!
I need to hear Yog-Sothoth, Cthulhu.
Literally, they describe the city with a door that opens in a way it shouldn't, like a big triangle, and a monument that no man could have ever built,
giant pyramid.
like a mountain.
Like a black pyramid.
It's a pyramid.
Well,
It's a black mountain pyramid. Yes.
Yes,
and
no
that
man
is the
could build.
throne upon which that old one sits.
I don't know if an old one sits on that one, but
Okay.
not okay. Cthulhu is not in every thing Lovecraft
I
wrote
know,
about.
but I'm talking about the specific Sea of Madness
no.
description.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, forget what Eddie says. This is a loose,
I don't know.
very
I
loose,
get
but
what-
original
lose
story.
Loremaster in a minute.
It's a loose
I
adaptation
agree
of
that
Call of Cthulhu. It's what
no,
this
it's
is.
not a loose adaptation.
It's a
of Call of
very
Cthulhu.
loose.
Not in any way
It's
is
an
it loose.
original story with like Cthulhu-esque lore.
See, that's why I was like, it's not 100% H.P. Lovecraft.
It's not 100%.
Because the
Yeah, that's
only
what we
thing
were
people ever
saying.
associate with H.P. Lovecraft is Cthulhu.
I
and
was
that's not
specifically
necessarily
drawing
the-
on Sea of Madness when he
I get
describes what
what
the
you mean.
Norwegian
Yes.
captain found.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not necessarily this deity who is not present.
Yeah,
in
he is
any of it.
Cthulhu-esque.
But the way the city is described
Yeah,
is
I get what you
very
mean.
similar to the Void.
Okay.
And I just
That's
chopped
all.
it down to is even though this guy doesn't look like Cthulhu, it's just Cthulhu in a human form because that's essentially who he is.
Well,
because
that's
See,
not.
what I'm
That's
trying.
not.
Exactly,
That's
see?
not.
You confused
No,
him.
so no, it's
I'm
not.
not saying like that's not Cthulhu lore. It's not. But they made it for this film because his spawn is pretty
he's a
much
big
spawn of
malevolent
Cthulhu. The way it
spirit.
looks.
Yeah,
is
I
what
mean,
he's trying to
yes,
get at.
you're
The way-
yes.
yes.
If you boil it down into like
if you
one
boil it
sentence
down,
stuff,
it's
yes.
just a bunch of spookies.
It's a
and-
bunch of
it's a bunch
spoopiness.
of spoops.
spoopies. It's a bunch of spoops.
That's my draw. Is that someone just took Cthulhu?
We're
and
taking
stuff
too
and-
long. Let's just finish this up.
We're almost done.
Okay,
so he basically is like, oh, my daughter's gonna be reborn,
yeah,
right?
and he
through
tries
pregnant
to
chick.
to bring her back through the pregnant girl.
Spoilers, she was in on it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who knows what weird
My babies.
old people
my-
sex they might have had.
I don't even want to think about it.
But
that's-
like,
that's- yeah.
she immediately starts giving birth, and like, she doesn't
Oh, no,
actually
she doesn't
fucking
give
have
birth.
a baby. No,
It
yeah,
ex-
it's-
it
it
explodes
tears-
out of her
it
stomach.
tears out of her.
She gets like ripped in
She
half.
she gets
Which
torn
you
up-
see.
and this giant
Spawn of
at
Cthulhu
this
looking
point,
creature.
yeah, you do
It
have
has
a
like the
monster.
tentacle mouth
Yeah.
and like
It's
it's
a Spawn
walking
of
all crazy.
Cthulhu, pretty much.
But that's where I draw the line on Lovecraftian stuff because my interpretation of Lovecraft is about
interpretation of Lovecraft.
yeah, well, you know,
The cosmic horror.
it's but cosmic horror.
No, yeah, I get what you mean.
Literally, what I interpret it as is humanity is the only sense of sanity that we have.
Yeah.
and that the universe is the horrifying thing.
Yeah, and that's why Lovecraft excels on paper and not in actual visuals because it's the horror of the unknown.
Making monsters out of people, I think,
Takes
is
away from
antithetic
that.
from Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of I thought of it as that concept of when old ones come into our world, they don't like have a form that makes sense to us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they find flesh, it ends up like being twisted horribly into this weird fucking.
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing this great demon drawing of it's pretty much an old one character, and she has guts for hair, and I was like, that's cool, and I was like, that's what I'd imagine an old one would do. Like they would make guts, entrails into their hair because they'd be like, oh, this is nice looking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of thought of it when that happened.
And again, it's just my interpretation. That's your interpretation. I felt like they had a theme, and then like they kind of take away from that when they go. I mean, it's Lovecraftian-esque, but
an aspect of it is the whole. This is super unknowable. There's tons of unknowable things.
There are a bunch of unknowns.
That's why there's all
there's
these
a lot of ambiguous
aspects
stuff.
of the story we don't know. So we don't even know how people are chosen and why they become what they become.
Which is actually pretty good because it works with the kind of Lovecraftian theme of
like,
the horror
at no
of the
point
unknown.
do we see like dark shadows or some on the other side. We don't see anything like that's
you don't
taking
see
their
anything
place.
moving on the other side.
Yeah. All we see is the big pyramid. So we have no idea like how this power works or how it's supposed to be affecting people. We just know it's happening.
And according to what I learned, we'll never know because they're not making a sequel.
they're not going to make a sequel.
Good, thank
they don't
God.
want to.
Which is good. Which is really good.
Not everything needs a sequel.
I know, but that was the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
said that too.
he decides, the cop boy decides, I'm going in, and he goes in, and he's there with his wife.
They have this cool like bad guy versus good guy talk where he's all like,
Just
give in
to me.
Yeah, give in. This isn't the end. And he's like, yes, it is.
And then he tackles him through the
Takes
void.
him
Yeah.
in. And then next, the very final shot is him and his wife. and they're
Ignores the
standing-
stab to the spine, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's true. He doesn't
Yeah, but
ignore
when
his side,
you're dying, if you're
Yeah, it
gonna
was
die,
that- is
you're
that
gonna
final
dude,
push.
you have
hit the right-
adrenaline.
you hit the right whatever, you're not moving those legs, bro.
It was that last chunk of energy he had in him.
yeah, the
Just
last
go forward.
Yeah, it's like
Which
it's like
why
when
does
a-
that end? It's like I just opened this portal. You think I can't just walk right
Right,
back
that's what I'm
through?
saying. Like, I don't understand how he's like, well, I'm trapped here forever now, guys.
I was
Sorry.
defeated
I had the
'cause I was
power to
pushed
open it.
back.
Well, so yeah, they jump through and then you find
And they
out
also
that it's
f up the baby Cthulhu. They
Yeah.
like shoot the out of it.
They
and light
jack it
on
up,
fire.
and then they light
They
it
don't
on fire.
kill it, though.
Well, they
Oh, that's true. They don't kill it.
he stabs it and then more tentacles come out
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
f up the crazy dad.
and then he lights himself on fire and explodes, and
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
yeah, but it still doesn't get killed.
What actually kills it is as the doorway closes and Silent,
stuck in that reality.
Silent Kid is just escaping. The doorway closes. Yeah, midway, and it like
So
gets
the spawn of
destroyed
Cthulhu is pretty much
between
stuck in its reality.
Yeah.
I think it died. I think it was just
No, it's
wiped out of
it's
reality.
stuck in its
Kinda,
dimension
yeah.
now.
Well, no,
doesn't
because it
super
was in a
matter.
doorway that was closing.
Yeah, but it wasn't getting affected by it.
I don't know. I think
Because
they
it
just
was
got-
way wider than him, and it was
doesn't-
still going.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's whatever.
It's
It
It's
doesn't matter.
ambiguous.
It's
doesn't
tough
matter, yeah.
because the big reveal is him finding his wife on the other side of the
Yeah.
Which
void.
I don't
Which
understand
is
why she's
ambiguous.
there.
We're
Yeah.
not even sure if she's
Why
actually
is she
there.
there?
Like, why isn't Beverly
Well,
there?
Yeah, so that's what the guy in Foundflix was saying. Like, are all
Yeah.
the souls on that
And,
side?
Yeah, he
and
didn't
they're
under-
just
he didn't
like
understand it
they're
either.
there in like this alternate
Well, it's
dimension.
just an unknowable aspect.
Yeah,
you know, it's
and
like
there's the big monument that
yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
a
about
big-
that I feel
it's a big, like-
resembles it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
It's a big like call to the unknowable horror that you realize at the
Yeah.
end of a Lovecraft story, where
Yeah.
you fly over the mountains of madness and there's Brandon naked.
What?
This little you're like, whoa!
Thanks.
That is the ultimate Lovecraftian monster.
So yeah, I mean,
unknowable. Ah.
and
Me
the
naked,
silent kid
wiggling
finds
around.
Knives Chow, and they're like, "Let's get the
Yeah.
f out of here."
And then they start dating, and they move to Toronto. And they get some
Yeah,
fights.
and then
They
he has
start
to
a
fight
family.
the toughest fighter in Toronto
Yep.
They start a family, and the baby can't talk either.
because that's genetic.
Because next.
So
movie's
I gave this movie a half potato because
And I
I
gave-
loved the practical effects.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gave
loved
it
the
a
attempt.
full potato because the first time I saw it, I really dug it. This time, I get bored of movies when I watch them too often.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But
at
you
this
said
point,
you were watching it over and over before even we recorded either too. Mm-hmm. You said like you
You said you watched
even
it
more
twice just
times.
before this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That's why I said I get bored of movies if I rewatch
Oh, yeah, I
them
know.
too much.
And don't
Yeah.
do that.
Well, I know, but I wanted to remind myself of certain
right,
aspects.
yeah, that
and
makes
I
sense.
still couldn't
That
remember
makes sense.
the order.
It's all right.
I watched this on like right now it's Tuesday. I watched this last Monday, and I still can't get like
Certain,
the images.
Yeah.
The
I
first
can't
time
get the images
watched
out of my
Definitely
head.
watch this during the day.
The first time you
I watched it at
no,
1
watch it at night.
1
It's
Why
lit.
would you
a.m.
watch it at
I
night?
watched
because
it at
I didn't
1
realize
a.m.
it was
the
gonna
first time I
go.
watched it, too.
I didn't know it was
dope.
gonna go there.
Yeah, it's
I
a
was
fun-
like, you know what, this is gonna be some kind
It's a
of
fun
dumb
horror movie to watch, like when you're like into just chilling and it's.
If
late
you're
at night,
into
something
horror
like that.
movies, you will love this
it's a
movie.
sweet horror
Yeah,
movie.
it's a
Definitely.
pretty.
If you're not
yeah.
into graphic horror,
Yeah,
you will not
you're
like
not
this
It's
gonna
pretty
enjoy
gory.
it, yeah.
It's
It
pretty
is
gory.
like
gory,
yeah.
nightmare
super
fuel.
fucking gory, yeah.
After the 30-minute mark, it is nightmare fuel.
It gets pretty heavy in the.
Don't
yeah.
watch it at 1 a.m. like me, because it was hard to sleep.
Yeah.
Well,
So so that was a
That
full
was
potato.
full
I gave a
potato.
half.
I gave it a half.
So that
because
adds
the,
up to
the,
2.
The
Potatoes for
beginning was
Void.
too
yeah.
Yeah.
2 potatoes for Void, 3
3 potatoes for
Moon and 3
potatoes
for
for
LA92.
I'm gonna give LA92 a half potato now.
You're gonna reduce your.
I'm
potato
gonna reduce
count?
my.
Come on, we
We
had a good
recorded this in the
streak.
beginning.
I'm gonna reduce my.
For the people who didn't stick around.
Man.
Man,
I am so
Sorry, people who clicked
disappointed.
off at the 10-minute mark.
Next time, stick around, guys. You want to?
I guess you'll get your bonus content if you watch all the way through.
Gotta.
You know where else you can get bonus content?
where?
The Himalaya app.
The Himalaya app.
And
Oh,
SoundCloud,
no.
where you can
Oh, yes.
hear our beautiful voices instead of see our beautiful faces.
Yes.
Yes.
So
And go to my
Himalaya,
new
the same
YouTube
app that
channel.
liked our Instagram post.
yeah,
Yes.
we're getting some traction.
And go to my new YouTube channel, Downtown Fresno Lo-Fi, where you can watch Downtown Fresno get
In lo-fi, yeah.
In lo-fi, yeah.
Wow.
Lo-fi is like ambient
Ambient
music,
yes,
right? Ambient
yes.
music.
It's like doo-doo-doo.
Stuff to chill to.
Yeah, stuff to watch the void to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Stuff to just look into the void. And
I'm
talk
probably
to
gonna
your
watch this again. I'll
tentacle
probably watch
wife.
The Void again.
Watch it with your
I'm
baby.
not gonna watch it again.
I'm
Not because
gonna
like,
try
I'm
and convince my
afraid-
wife to watch it with me.
Watch it with your baby.
My wife shook her head no.
Your baby's like, "Blah, I'm not supposed
I
to."
wasn't like a big fan of the movie. I liked the production. That's why
Yes.
I gave it a half potato.
They put their money into their
yes,
production.
they really did. They were like, the story. We're gonna make some dope
I
looking
thought
monsters.
even
The
though
story was good,
yeah,
though.
it wasn't bad.
it
was
wasn't
just-
that good.
It was all right.
Well, it's supposed to be one of those lean horror stories where it's the setting and the costumes that
Yeah.
really make it fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was fun. I would
No,
describe it
yeah.
as
Yes.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't.
And that's
It wasn't
all it
meant
needed to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to like.
It
open
it
your
wasn't
mind
going
or
for
anything.
an
Yeah.
award. This wasn't going for
Yeah,
any
this
kind
was-
of
This was
mention.
this was like a group of people that were
Trying
like, you
to
know,
be
we're gonna
something
make
John
yeah.
Carpenter would have made.
we're gonna
in the
make a
80s. Yeah,
we're gonna
that's what
bring
I was
back
trying
the
to do.
'80s
In a-
And that's
practical
fine. I like
effects.
that's when a horror movie
That's
is honestly
okay.
better.
That's
to
a
me
reason I gave it half a
sometimes.
potato and not 0 potatoes.
Yes.
Because if
Like,
they had
that's
been
what I liked
actually
about
trying,
your ghost movie last time. That
Yeah,
we did.
Malevolent.
Yeah, Malevolent was good because it
It
was
was
80s
different.
horror and it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
it's okay to be different in the way you make a film,
Yeah.
and you will be rewarded for that on our show,
Yes.
Yes.
not at the Academy.
Okay.
So yeah, check us out on SoundCloud. Check us out on Himalaya.
Just search up Couch Potatoes Movie Club.
Yeah, Couch Potatoes Movie Club. Subscribe.
Yes.
Comment on any movies that you think we should watch. We already got a couple.
We got a
of
comment.
recommendations. Yeah.
Someone suggested that we watch Roma, and that'll be my pick because I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
I've heard
Yeah.
weird. I've heard
It won.
conflicting
The
things.
director won.
Director
Alfonso
won an
Cuarón,
Oscar.
Yeah, won an Oscar for it. So I wasn't
that
super
would be my
thrilled
pick.
about it because I'm not big on those like sappy, character stories. But like, if you pick it, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked it. We're watching.
Yeah.
I haven't picked anything yet.
They
but I'll
also
figure
suggested
it out.
Abducted in Plain Sight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which
I thought you said
5
Fire in the
seconds?
Sky.
Nuts.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Nuts.
I was going to suggest that, but the same person
Oh.
recommended Abducted in Plain Sight.
Oh, okay.
I know that we've seen it. I know
Yes.
Brandon and I have. I don't know if you
I
have.
haven't.
Brief summary for if you haven't seen it. When you think it can't get any
Mm.
worse, it gets exponentially worse.
Are we willing to suspend the rule to pick it for the sake of the person who commented?
I don't care.
I don't need to watch it. I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
So
I've
would
only
be the
watched it
one
once.
watching it.
So can we talk about it next week then?
Yeah, we
Sure,
could-
I
I
can-
could-
yeah, we can
next
talk
time, next
about
time
it.
we
Yeah.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's aim for Roma and then we'll just have Eddie pick a movie that he
Yeah.
wants us to watch, and we'll that'll be our next list, so that we're actually listening to the people who interact with us.
pretty good
Okay.
episode today. We
Yeah.
got great picks this time.
Yeah, the movies have been getting way better in quality from the beginning
Yeah.
till now,
Yeah.
but I think we're now starting to fine tune like what we like. You know?
Wait, is this is episode 4?
Yes.
Correct?
yeah,
This
this
is
is episode 4.
Oh, we're gonna have to push Roma and Duck. Is episode 5 is our themed episode.
Oh, that's right. We have a themed episode. So episode 6 will be Roma and
Abducted in Plain Sight, and then Eddie's pick.
Mm.
Episode
We have-
5 is we agreed to do a themed episode. We're gonna the way we review movies, we're gonna do it with kids films.
We're gonna pick a child's film,
and we're not
review
talking
it.
about like Indian in the
We're
cupboard
taking
or
three
like
children's
I'm talking about
films.
like
TVY7 movies.
Yes, exactly.
Three TVY7.
Which there is
or,
a
like-
category on Netflix that does that, right?
Yes.
Cool. So we'll have to
And,
look. So
and don't worry, they're only like 30 minutes long.
I hate these so much. This idea. This is
So,
so stupid.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited
Alright,
because it's
we'll
gonna
do
be
it.
funny. So
Yeah.
next episode 5, which is the next one.
Cinematography so bad.
Yes. No. Yes. I
was the
really want to
director thinking?
shred it.
So
Yeah.
All right.
next episode is kids episode. After that is abducted and Roma.
Roma. Yeah. And
Thank
then-
you for watching and
And listening if you're
And
listening.
listening.
Yeah.
You can
And
also donate on the Himalaya
Yes.
app. You're not
If you
forced
want.
to, but
Yeah, if
we
you
would
want.
appreciate it.
We're
Give
not begging.
me money.
Eddie's begging.
Eddie's greedy.
Yeah, I need that money.
One greedy boy.
You know,
Greedy boy.
The winter is coming.
Winter's here.
Thank you for. It's almost over.
Winter's leaving.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, make good choices.
Yeah, make good choices, and
I guess
bye.
that's our phrase
Yeah,
now.
bye.
I've been saying that for years.
been saying it
I've been
every
saying it for
single-
years. So I mean,
And he hasn't been making them.
I've been making moderately okay choices.
He's been making moderate choices.
Recently my movie choices have been good, but
Okay. All right.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.